and welcome back to Thursday. It's Dames and Dorks here. How is everyone doing today? I hope everyone is doing great. We are running a little low today on a panelist. We got people who are in important meetings and then people who are taking a little bit of leave to get their ducks in a row in their life. But nonetheless, we're happy to hang out here, and we are happy to have our special guest today, Phillip Chan of Project Eggroll. How's it going, dude?
Yo, what's going on? Thank you so much for the invite. I appreciate it. I'm doing fantastic. Yeah, I came a little late. Sorry, because I was in a meeting prior to this. But yo, thank you so much. I'm doing awesome. How are you guys?
Dude, we're doing good. Well, as far as the meeting thing, we got Lily here, who's currently in a meeting. So I wasn't like trying to, poke fun at you. I was like, no, we got our other panelist who's she just graduated. She's going to be basically a doctor, so she's got big people meetings now instead of us hanging out with us nerds.
Yeah.
But how are you, Smu the DJ? Thank you so much for hanging out with us today.
I'm doing excellent. I've got my cup of coffee here with the good old Yoha and To Be on the front and the back, so I'm ready to go.
Okay,
good topics today.
Yes, we do have some good topics, and then we're gonna also bring up Dr. Rachel, who we have plenty of topics to talk about. How are you today, Rachel?
I'm hanging in there. I already said backstage, but for the chat, I am not feeling well today, so I will not be here for the whole time. I'll try to be here as much as I can, but I'm hopped up on all kinds of ibuprofens and NyQuils and all that stuff. I got some hot emergency with me, so hopefully my voice will hold out, at least for the first couple of topics.
Okay, so if we start hearing that Disney's Doctor Who is not that bad from you, that's when we know the NyQuil's hitting, right?
Yeah, that's when I've hit the wall. Right. If I say, God, I really want some coffee right now, or I say Disney Star Wars is fantastic, that's when you will know I'm way too loopy and you should kick me off.
Okay, we'll take that as a note. we won't embarrass you here. We want to take care of you. But yes, and then I'm going to go ahead and acknowledge the chat here. We have Tomby here. Thank you so much for hanging out, Tomby, coming through. And of course, our lovely mod, who's also on the panel as well, Smu the DJ. Celluloid Dream, how's it going? Nice to see you here. And then we got Tracy Reeves. Oh,
Tracy.
How's it going, Tracy? And then our favorite other mod, Arcasul. Hello.
Arc.
Hi, how's it going, Arc? And then Cal, how's it going, my guy? Nice to see you. And then Jose Taco, nice to see you. Coming from the lands that I hail from, El Paso. And then Hertz, nice to see you too here. So we got a full head. We got a good discussion today. Today was actually quite interesting, but we'll get to that later on, where I'm talking about the actress of the Alkalite who came out with that cringe video that, almost sent me to, I rolled my eyes so far back that I actually saw my brain.
I almost got a seizure listening to that song earlier. I'm just saying.
I couldn't finish it. I watched the first part of that song and no, I can't listen to it. It's going to make me even more sick.
Fortitude to listen to it, honestly.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Phil, did you see the video?
I know of it. I have not seen it. And
I'm just saying,
are we gonna listen to it
later on? We don't want to make Rachel that sick.
I have an excuse.
No,
I got somewhere else to be.
We don't want to send her over just at all, actually. So we're actually going to be talking about Lord of the Rings. We wanted to talk about this last week. Mm-hmm. But we wanted to talk about how bad the Acolyte was last week. So that took over where, Lord of the Rings did not get any action or any attention from us. But the War of Rohirrim debuts 20 minutes of epic footage at the NSC introducing headstrong princes of Hera of Rohan. So, Rachel, take it away. Can you tell us about this? Break it down for us, girl.
Oh, God. So, yes, it is following the lore. It's... at least that's what we thought it was, and then they kind of switched gears to just it's the God, I don't remember her name, Hera or something, of Rohan, just following the princess, and then it's all just women putting together a band of women, at least from what I've read, and it very much diverged away from it. But what really got me was the art style of it. So I really like anime. I've watched all different kinds, and they showed some pictures. Like early on, there was this concept art, like you can see on the screen. I really like the detail. I love that kind of style. And then we got to, I think it was 3 pictures. And it just, I'm sorry, but the style of the actual show looked so generic to me. I really didn't like it. Specifically the characters. Like they looked like they were from, pick a generic fantasy anime. Like if you told me they were from, especially that middle one. Like if you told me that was the Night's Watch from Game of Thrones, I would have absolutely believed you.
It does look like that, doesn't it?
It just doesn't scream Lord of the Rings to me. So it's just a jump from what I was expecting from the original concept art. And I was pretty disappointed. Like anime, the style, it's not bad, but it just doesn't scream Lord of the Rings to me. It screams very generic looking characters.
Funny you mentioned the middle picture, because that guy in the middle looks a bit like what's the redhead Shanks from One Piece a little bit.
Yes,
like just
it's the
traced
scar.
over. It's the scar
Yeah.
that really looks like Shanks. It is very, very weird looking. I mean, other than that, it does look good. You could have told me that's an Elden Ring anime, and I would have believed you as well.
Yep.
Like because of the aesthetic of it all, He makes Asian man noises, Tabitha. There's a difference here, okay?
I'm sure we'll hear it at some point.
I heard Phil you're doing some weird noises on stream, so it's okay.
Yeah, you're an anime guy, Phil. Break it down to us. What do you think? And then also, would you make these strange sounds with this Lord of the Rings style? Or
this sort of remind me. I do agree with Smu. Like it's sort of like, okay, so I just recently got into Elden Ring, and I know that the DLC just like came out a couple hours ago. But the thing is that this, like, if you say, oh, this is like a Millennia, I'm like, oh yeah, I can see it, right? She'd be like, ooh, or something like that. Something like that. And yeah, I can definitely see this. But overall, I think the anime style is fine, but it does look very generic anime. Like you could tell me, like, I don't know what studio's done this, like, because there's specific studios and styles of animation, but this is just a still image, right? But the animation has to carry. So let's say if this is done by Mappa Studios or Wit Studios or something like that, some kind of like powerhouse. Like Wit Studios have been perfect. I'm not sure if that's the studio that's doing this, but we got to see more. But as of right now, it looks very generic. But hey, it could be awesome.
Yeah,
that's just me.
Yeah, I definitely agree, Phil. I agree that like the backgrounds don't look bad, and again, the style looks all right. It just doesn't scream Lord of the Rings. It doesn't scream that uniqueness to me. But like Phil said, these are just still images. I'm waiting for a full trailer to come out before I really pass a judgment on the full style. But I was, I wasn't angry about these pictures, but I wasn't impressed. I was really looking forward because we don't really have any good Lord of the Rings stuff. I'm looking at you, Amazon. You know what you've done. So I was really hoping for something really good, with Lord of the Rings. So I had really high hopes for this. And so I was a little bit disappointed with the art style. But again, we'll see what happens when we get a full trailer.
So I just did some digging on the guy who's working on the anime, and it's a guy called Kenji Kamiyama, and he did Eden of the East, Ghost in the Shell Standalone Complex, 009 Re-Cyborg, Napping Princess, a lot of Ghost in the Shell stuff back in the day. So I don't really see the Ghost in the Shell influence, but I can definitely tell there's like a consistency going through from what I can take away from there. So he's a very well-renowned Japanese animator, at least from what I can gather.
So with him being like the well-known Japanese animation artist, do you think he can follow through with the story of War of Rohirrim? Smu?
I think he could, yeah. I can see it. If he doesn't go like too over the top and doesn't get too influenced by his past works, like with Ghost in the Shell, I could actually see it because he has got some competent direction going on with the action scenes in Ghost in the Shell. So I can confidently say it probably will look good in combat, but I'm not sure about the in between stuff. To be honest with you.
And then Rachel, how about you for like the story wise? Like, are you at least kind of satisfied with the direction of the story that's going to be going with it?
I was. I need to read up a little bit more because, God, it's been a while since I actually read through Tolkien. But from what I've heard, this is swinging more towards like very much all female swords, and they're badass and OP, and it sounds disappointing. Hopefully that's just a rumor, but again, I need to research that a little bit more. I see you, Tabitha. We should just have like a stream where we just learn how to pronounce Tolkien's all the words. But yeah, so the original story is fantastic. I don't know about this one. I don't know if they're really going to be very loyal to the source material. I hope so. But again, I'm waiting for a full trailer to come out. Hopefully some more news. It's been hit or miss because I keep hearing rumors on all sides of this one. It's been tough to actually figure out exactly what's going on.
Yeah. And then Philip, are you a Lord of the Rings fan too, or are you just mainly just stick with anime?
I would consider myself to be a normie Lord of the Rings fans. Like I haven't read any of the books or anything like that. I've watched all of the movies, including the bad ones, and I am up to date with Rings of Power. But in terms of this, if they make this, if they go towards the route of strong women, and it seems like they are, I'm okay with it as long as the girls are hot. All right.
That's cool, yeah.
So if the female characters are like short, fat, ugly, have pronouns for whatever reasons, then yeah, that's gonna drive me away. But if it's done by a Japanese studio, and it seems like it's based off of the style, and I'm looking at another shot right now, you can see a little bit cleavage. I think we might be okay here. but overall, yeah, I'm not sure like how like where this sits place, right? It's sort of where does it take place? How far before Fellowship, like, or is this even before then? So like I just don't know when the timeline is with the show. But as of right now, I know there isn't a lot of female characters even in the main Lord of the Rings series that was done by Peter Jackson. There aren't a lot. But the thing is, let's say like if we see elves, like they better look like heavenly goddesses that like I see in like Nikkei goddess of victory, right?
I love it.
But overall, like I'm cautiously optimistic, but based off of what I hear so far, especially from Dr. Rachel and a couple of people online, I'm not holding my breath. I'm just, hopefully it's good. Maybe when she does like a superhero landing, she gets up, her boobs comes up like a couple seconds after, and it actually comes up like this or something like that. I don't know. But based off of and with Ghost in the Shell and stuff like that, I've seen at some of those as a kid. Makoto is hot, so we'll see.
Yep, she is. My biggest concern is that the marketing team is just going overdrive with this whole female perspective thing because of how Hollywood is running at the moment, that they potentially mess up another potentially good show or a movie that way. I mean, it happened to Furiosa, allegedly. I haven't watched the movie, but I heard from a lot of people that it's actually a pretty good movie ruined by marketing, because they pushed like an all like a feminist thing, and it turns out it actually wasn't. So we just gotta wait and see, I suppose. I need to see a actual trailer instead of just like images before I can make a judgment. And that's the problem that I have with that at the moment.
Same.
And I want to go back on what Philip was saying. You're like, I don't want to see these like, fat anime girls, whatever. Like, so you're saying you don't want to see like land whale in that art style with blue hair?
No.
Yeah, I would rather not see a land whale in Middle Earth, to be honest.
You don't want to see an orc, a pretty orc or anything? Gosh dang.
Okay,
I mean, we got an order.
You're not
Look at the
inclusive
there.
enough,
That's
is what
okay.
you're saying. Not just kidding.
Well, to be fair,
I'm
like
okay.
this is following female warriors, so call me crazy, but I don't think a female warrior who's fighting and practicing with swords and everything like that would be morbidly obese.
That's true.
Fair, yes, I like that. But I like how Tabitha says here the brilliance of Jackson's Lord of the Rings is that it's only 3 main women who barely spoke are more memorable than current female leads.
Yep.
And one of them actually had a very poignant scene in one movie.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. No, she is, but yeah, all we can do is hope for the best. And I know, Philip, like you are a huge anime fan. I know when the likes, like you can go to someone's X profile and see like what they like, that was taken away. And then you made the joke like, I can't wait to like all the hentai and all the other stuff here on Twitter. So how's that going for you?
Oh, boy.
So the thing is that people are like so like usual. Then it's because here's the thing. I don't just like it. I also repost it. So like people know what I'm liking. And the thing is, I don't know what's up with modern day Hollywood. Why everyone they're so afraid of attractive women is because it's not like they're not a unicorn. Like we actually have women who are extremely feminine and attractive at the same time. Why can't you have a strong woman that's well written and attractive? Why can't you have that in Hollywood anymore? I think someone mentioned. Yeah, definitely. Either extremely insecure woman who's writing these stuff, or they're trans. That's the only reason, right? And it's like, oh, why? A lot of people used to love Adele, Rebel Wilson, and I forgot a bunch of these fat Hollywood stars, right? And all of a sudden they lost weight. They started looking really, really pretty, and they're like, wait, what happened? You used to be the voice of fat people. Like people got super upset when Adele lost weight. I'm like, why? She looks way better now, and she's probably going to be able to live on to her 80s. But the thing is that, do you know what you don't see a lot of people, in old folks' home? Fat people, because all of them are dead.
Yeah. That is true.
No, I like that. Go ahead, Smu.
But if you really think about it, like this whole, like what Philip just said with the you used to be one of us, and now I'm betrayed. This becomes such a trend. Just wait until Lizzo loses weight, and then they just see the people turn on her. I'm just waiting for that moment to happen, honestly. But that's gonna probably be a couple of years off.
I don't know. She got roasted pretty hard.
Yeah, I mean,
go ahead, Rachel.
I kind of just what both of you guys were saying is just the idea that you don't see a lot of fat older people. And that's the thing, right? Like all these people saying, oh, you used to represent us, are generally younger and a lot bigger. They don't care about their health. So it's going to be when they hit rock bottom, when they start getting, diseases and illnesses much earlier on than they normally would. That's when they're probably going to be like, oh, wait, maybe I actually should lose some weight. But they're not going to get there for like years to come. So it's disappointing that, like all these people are like, oh, you represent us fat people. And yet they don't really understand the health implications of that.
Yeah, it's not like we're mocking you that that you're fat or anything, but the fact that you're taking it upon yourself to make your health better and live longer to either further your career in singing, further your career in acting. So, it's not like we're trying to cheer you on, like be fat forever. Like if you have a goal, a passion to
go for it,
to keep going for what you're doing right now, you're still going to get praise and, be adored by those who stood beside you when you lost the weight.
Yeah. And I think it should be like inspirational for other people as well. Like if she can do it, then other people can do so as well. And that's how it should be. But considering how beauty standards have changed as well in that regard, that this kind of stuff is being normalized, then you just really have to like question yourself, like, are we actually living in the same world that we grew up in like a couple of years ago, or are we actually in a parallel universe now? It's getting to a point where it's getting a bit bizarre at times.
Yep.
Yeah.
But yeah.
No, okay. No, it is bizarre. And, but what I can do and hope for right now is wanting this to actually be successful, because I am not a weeb. I'm just barely getting into anime, so I know some terms. So I know what you posted a while back, Phil. I was like, I actually know what that is, but I don't, no judgment. but I don't know. Like I'm looking forward to it, and I've always liked the anime art style like this, but I guess it goes down to like the nitty gritty of what you guys were describing about like who's the artist and what studio or producer is going to be doing it. It's like, oh, I just like it because it's animation. I didn't really put into consideration of like, who's working on it, who's working on this project. So
for me, and I think animation for me is better than style, right? Like for instance, this looks great. But once it's animated, how does it look? Like, let's say if it's, all right, I'm gonna sound like a Coomer right now, but the thing is that like I've seen a lot of still images of like hentai and stuff like that, and then when you watch it, like the animation fucking sucks. Like this is awful, right? And then when you look at some of them, they look simply drawn, but the animation's incredible, right? And the thing is that I did a character design test for Rise of the TMNT for Nickelodeon.
Okay,
and
wow.
that was done by Andy Siriano. So when I was doing the character designs, I'm like, wow, this is really hard for me to mimic. I'm like, to be honest, this art style looks really, really bad. And April O'Neil's black. This thing is gonna be awful, right? And then when I saw the opening animation for the intro, I'm like, the animation is fantastic. It's so good, and that what really carries it. And that's the reason why for anime, when you go from watching One Punch Man season 1 to One Punch Man season 2, you can tell the different quality. Because One Punch Man season 1, the animation is flawless, and you're like, what is this? What is this crappy like animation, right? Because Wit Studio did, they did what's it called again? One Punch Man season 1. Now they're doing, they're the same studio that does what's it called, Spy Family, which is fantastic. If you haven't watched Spy Family, it's amazing. But Wit Studio also did Death Note, which is like you're like, okay, wow, okay, I understand why they're so good. But now that they have the name and the branding, it's sort of like when you have like a famous person that comes to your restaurant, gives you a really, really high review. You go as a customer, and then the food sort of sucks. It's because they don't need that their food to be good anymore, because the fame and the name carries it. So I think that's what happens with anime. But I do want to ask Nomi, what are you watching now though? Like you say, you're just getting into anime.
Yeah, I actually just started watching Spy Family.
Yes.
Great
So
show.
yeah. So because like I like want to break in, so it's like at least something I could tolerate, I guess you could say, or palatable, versus me going into Attack on Titan. I know that's like a little more intense and a more, I guess like action wise. I mean, I can handle action, but I need to understand like the difference of like good storytelling. And I know Attack on Titan is good storytelling too, but like the massive difference between the differences between storytelling on that, because everyone has a different style. And then not only that, a long time ago during high school, there was a friend of mine who showed me Fruits Baskets, and I thought that was okay, but I wasn't like interested in now. But like now I'm an adult, I was like, actually, why I want to see it, because I've been told so many good high reviews about it, so I want to get into that. So I don't know, what other animes would you recommend, Phil?
A very good one is Attack on Titan is really good. It has like, if you're like, I don't want to watch a show that like has a lot of like nuances of sexual innuendos. I just want to watch a good, well written story. Like Attack on Titan is really good. Death Note's really good. And it's sort of like you have a power. Imagine a high school kid has a power of a god, and then what does he do with that? Like it's in short, it's really good. Don't watch the live action, especially the American one. That one's gone. Shin-chan?
We don't talk about that one.
Shin-chan is degenerate stuff. Stop
it. Don't
Risky.
watch it. Okay.
I will watch.
Oh, okay. Don't watch it. Okay.
It's something I will watch.
Oh gosh. Okay.
Yeah, I can see that, Phil.
Yeah.
That's why I need people like you in my life to like, can you tell me if this is going to be good or not? Or am I going to like it? Or am I just going to be like, well, I need to go, call my mother, apologize to her, and go make myself right with God type of anime?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like it really depends on like which type of animation, if you want like shonen, or like if you want like more adult, like if you like action, or you like prefer story and stuff like that. Like movies wise, like Your Name is a really good.
I heard that one.
Anything like like what's the name? Shinkai. Yeah, he's really, really good.
Weathering with You. And also Suzume. That was the last one, I think, right?
Yeah, Suzume. Yeah, and all of that's really good. Like if you, it's just really what you're really into. But like if like Death Note's really good. If you're into like wacky animation stuff like that, like One Piece it's extremely overwhelming to get into, but you're over 1,000 episodes, but it is good. And if you watch, like for me, I never watched One Piece or read One Piece, but I watched the live action, and it was so good that it made me watch the anime. So it's like it's something like that. But yeah, Spy Family is a very good like feel good one too though.
It's a very wholesome show. I like the balance between the espionage or the missions and then the wackiness with Anya every once in a while. Oh, I actually love that balance. I watched the movie in the cinema when it was released here, and I really enjoyed that too. I can't wait for that to hit streaming sooner than later because I want to watch that again.
Yeah, no, I'm all about story. Yeah, I like wackiness. I like adventure. I do like more intense ones. Because the only anime that I know, and I'm like, I sound such like a loser when I say this, is Hayao Miyazaki. I like his stuff because he is the ultimate one. He is well loved with everyone here. So, and I know his is very calming. But the one movie of his that made me cry was, oh my gosh, the Fireflies one.
Grave of the Fireflies.
There we go. Grave of the Fireflies. That one did get me teary-eyed a little bit. But yeah, no, if it's like if it's a story like that, like it can move my emotions, get my heartstrings pulled, like, yeah, I'm gonna like it. So I will take any recommendations, and then I will ask you, like, hey, someone said this. Is this good? Because obviously you guys said Shin-chan, and you guys laughed at it, and you're like, no, don't do it. It's like, okay, I don't know anything.
Shin-chan is like a little boy who's imagine if I had the same mentality, but I was a little boy. And when you're a little kid, you can get away with a lot of degeneracy, right? So I react to something, something in what's it called again? When we were live on Project Eggroll, and it was like there's this girl who had to like take off her jacket, but when she was taking off her jacket, her boobs were like flopping up and down, and then she was trying to save someone, but Shin-chan's in the back is like his nose is bleeding.
Okay.
Yeah, but overall, like most of the shonen stuff are pretty good. Like the original big three is pretty good. The one that's still going right now is One Piece. If you like shonen kind of stuff, what's it called again? Bleach is really good. It's a little bit more adult. It's because that guy's like a late teenager and he becomes an adult. People actually die and stuff like that. And you can go into Naruto. It's a little bit younger, but he grows up. So if you want to watch that one is done already. I wouldn't watch Boruto. It's not that great, which is a continuation. And right there, Dr. Rachel right there. Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood is fantastic.
Yes.
Fantastic. Holy crap. That one is really good.
See, when you said FMA and you go Full Metal Alchemist, like I wouldn't know that. I'd be like, oh, okay. I'm awful.
Yeah. Oh, you will learn.
So
just wait until you get to the part with the dad and his daughter.
That's pretty early on.
One of the worst hated characters in anime like history. Like, he's the worst, but it's awesome though.
Okay, so when I watch it, I'm gonna reach out to you. He's like, hey, so I finished it. Now I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, text me after you watch that episode.
Oh, okay. Dang, now we're fully invested now. So,
but it is a fantastic show.
Nomi, you got something to look forward to at least. To watch.
I do. And then Phil, like you mentioned that you watched the animation style, or like you oversaw for the recent Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem. Do you mind sharing that a little bit? Because I didn't know that about you.
Oh, it's not Mutant Mayhem. It's not the 3D one. It's the 2D one. It's 2D one. It's the one with the not the fat and frumpy April O'Neil, but it's the one where she had like pigtails and she's holding a bat. And it was back in 2017, I think. I did a character design test. So if you guys don't know, I used to work in the animation industry, and now I'm working in the game industry. And I'm if you guys will know, you guys will pick up what game I'm working on. I'm currently working on a Marvel game, but going back to that one, it was a weird style that was done by Andy Suriano. He's a comic book artist, but his style is very hard to replicate. He has a very specific style. Like I've even talking to a girl, her name is Do Hong, fantastic character artist. She's basically like the lead senior character artist on every DC animated movie that's coming out. And Andy Siriano's style is really hard to mimic. And when I saw the style, I'm like, this is gonna be awful. This is like Leonardo's not the leader anymore. I know Raphael, everyone loves Raph. Raph is the leader now. I get it. But Leonardo, he has one katana instead of two ninjakins. Why is what's it called again? Donatello have why does he have buck teeth? That's a giant gap in the middle of his mouth. Maybe they added that in probably in the 3D animated show. And then they took away nunchucks for Mikey and gave him like a yo-yo. I'm like, what is this?
A yo-yo?
Yeah, it gave him like a giant yo-yo, some kind of yo-yo thing that ninja, like it's like a giant yo-yo. It's like this big. And I'm like, okay, whatever. I don't really care. But then I saw the animation. I'm like, wow, this is great. This looks really, really, and my major in college was animation, like 2D animation. And I found out the hard way. I'm like, oh, I got an internship at Nickelodeon, and then I was talking to one of the guys there, and he's like, oh, so do we still do animation here? It's like, no, everything is being outsourced now. So your degree is gonna mean nothing.
Oh my gosh,
that's brutal. Oh
yeah. And I didn't find that out until like way later, because they started outsourcing stuff probably in like the early 2000s. I was still in high school then, so like it's just yeah. But whenever I see good animation, like I love it, especially when you see good character designs. I know that like Netflix has their ups and downs when it comes to some animation stuff, but Castlevania season 1 and season 2 were so good and
insane looking.
Yeah, it's done by people in what's it called, Frederator and Powerhouse Studios, which is in Frederator is here in Burbank, California, and Powerhouse is in Austin.
Okay.
Yeah, so they do really, really good stuff. And but the thing is, the most recent stuff wasn't that great. But overall, I like when it comes to animation, I know a lot of people in industry too. Like one of my closest friends, you guys watch Rick and Morty?
Yes.
Yep.
Oh.
You know the opening sequence where like they're running away from Cthulhu?
Yes. Yes.
That whole entire sequence, he animated that.
Oh wow.
Dang.
Yeah, so he's a really close friend of mine, and it's just like whenever we see these animations that looks awful, we're like, oh, that looks really, really bad. But even in 3D, like most recently, one of my favorite like movies that came out last year, I think was it last year or 2 years ago? Puss in Boots: The Last Wish.
Yeah,
it was 2 years ago. I think it was 2 years ago.
Yeah, it was so good. It was amazing. So but yeah, sorry, I went on a tangent here.
No, I actually love this conversation, because I was gonna follow up with a question. I did say towards the end we can do like last call. We'll get to ask Phil questions, get to know him better. But I'm like, no, why do it now? Better time than the present than doing it, later on. But I wanted to ask you, since we're on this topic, was like, what got you into animation? Like, what made the passion for you?
Two things. First one, drawing wise, like I always loved drawing, but the first thing that really, really got me into like drawing was Dragon Ball Z. Okay. Right. I loved drawing. Like I didn't know how like Dragon Ball Z came out in like 89. Like I was 1 year old, right? Like Dragon Ball original was like what, 86 or something like that. And like I love the art style, especially when they started going Super Saiyan and I started drawing. I started mimicking what I'm seeing. But in terms of animation, Animaniacs.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So I remember in the early episodes, it's like, oh, Warner Brothers Studios animation and stuff like that. I actually know one of the guys. His name is Michael Swanigan. He's one of the original storyboard artists for that show, and he's even in the original like opening sequence. Like he drew himself. But I'm like, you can actually draw stuff, and then you can make it move and come to life. Like I want to do this for a living, right? And then like I would see Tom and Jerry, and then I'm like, oh, I love Tom and Jerry. It's like one of my all-time favorite cartoons, and I'm like, I want to do this for a living. And then I found out that Tom and Jerry's came out in the 50s. I'm like, what?
Yep. Wild.
What? I was like, that's insane. This is in the 50s. Like, holy crap, man. Like Tom and Jerry looks so much better than modern day animation that we're getting now. You know,
It holds up very well.
yes.
It holds.
So I got into doing that, and then I'm like, all right, since you know, I want to do animation, and then like animation is outsourced now, so a lot of stuff that you have to start doing is like Flash animation, and we've seen how far Flash animation has gone. I believe I forgot what show that was all done in Flash, but it was I think it might have been Foster's.
Okay, Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends.
Yeah, I believe that one was, if I'm not mistaken, that one was done in Flash, and people hated it. And then like once they went over to Toon Boom Harmony, which is the program they're using now, it's like it makes it a little easier, but it uses a lot of like coding and nodes to make that. But I got into all of that, and then my dad got super pissed off at me. Right? He's like, "Hey, Phillip, hey, Phillip, what do you want to do when you grow up?"
Talk to me when you're a doctor.
Yeah, I was like 5, man. I was like 5 or 6. He's like, "Hey, what do you want to do?" And I was like, "I want to be an artist." Like, artists make no money, man. And I was like, "It's like, don't be artist, be pharmacist." I'm like, pharmacist? He's like, "I don't
Let the
hate
cliche
school.
run through the.
I hate school." He's like, "Hey, I'm not saying you be doctor, okay? Doctor 8-year school, 6-year school, only 6. I don't want to do that." I was like, "I want to be artist." He's like, "Name me one artist make a lot of money." I was like, Van Gogh. Van Gogh, stupid guy, dead. Oh, so yeah. So it's just you know, my mom was like, "Do whatever you want," and my dad was like, you know, like, "Don't do that." And you know, I grew up from a divorced family, so like they didn't really see eye to eye. And now like it's like I'm in a position, like, you know, fast forward, like I have like more than 10 years of experience under my belt in terms of animation art, game design, and like key art and marketing art and stuff like that. And you know, I started, you know, doing internships at Cartoon Network, at Disney, at Nickelodeon, and then I worked at a small studio. And then yeah, I got to meet a lot of like really, really cool people. And now I'm working on a Marvel game. So it's just like it's pretty crazy, like how far I've gotten. And then when I told my dad how much money I'm making, he's like, okay, art is good. All right, man.
That's enough approval. That's good, at least, you know.
Yeah, it's the money, right? It's the money.
Yeah.
Yep.
Even if you after you graduated, like, oh yeah, no, we're not doing that. Your degree means nothing, but yet you still like made it work.
Yeah. It's the degree. I would say that the degree didn't really help me much in terms of like where I got to where I am now. It's the opportunity of getting an internship with at school, right? The school was like, "Oh, we're you know, you have to do 2 quarters with like internships or something like that." So I went to this small studio called Toon Zone Studios, and it's like super small. It's run by a Korean lady, and she's super nice. And but the people I got to work with over there with, they're like, some of them are like legendary like people, like David Feast. If that name sounds familiar, he's the creator of Cow and Chicken.
Yep.
So yeah, I worked under him. He taught me a lot. Like character design stuff. I worked with Mark Perry, who also worked under him. And like both of them knew like Seth MacFarlane. They worked with HMB before they passed away, Hanna-Barbera. And it was crazy. And I worked with Frank Montagna. So Frank Montagna, he's fantastic. He worked on Mulan and Tarzan as a background artist. Like that guy's a rock star. And yeah, he's really, really good. I thought he was gay originally because the way he talks, but he's not. But yeah, I believe he's still at Disney, but like, yeah, like this guy is like fantastic. I learned character designs, turnarounds from them. And then I submitted that to Nickelodeon. And this thing is Nickelodeon Games. It's an offshoot. And yeah, when I got hired in as an intern, I was like, "What am I going to be doing?" He's like, "Hey, you like Neopets?"
Oh my God.
Yeah, I used to play a little bit. It's like, "Yeah, we're doing Neopets." I'm like, "Oh shit." So I did a lot of like wearables, and I did a bunch of like, what's it called again? The Battle Dome stuff for them, like when they started doing Battle Dome stuff, and I did a bunch of wearables. I interned there for about a year. No, but that's a 6 months to 9 months, and then afterwards they hired me part-time. And then I asked them, it's like, "Hey, so can you bring me on?" Right? And can you bring me on? And they're like, yeah, this Nickelodeon is selling Neopets to Jumpstart, so all of us are gonna get laid off. I'm like, oh shit.
Oh,
Right. But
dang.
I was really, really close with the art director. He's super cool. And Vinny, which is my art director. And then afterwards, you know, I interned at Cartoon Network. I was on Ben 10. And I met that's where I met a bunch of other people. I met Matt Youngberg. I think this is Matt Youngbird. I forgot. I think that's his last name. He basically worked with Bruce Timm and on 90s Batman animated series. And I worked with Dan Reba. He worked on Justice League and Justice League Unlimited. And Derek, I forgot his last name, but he passed away a couple of years ago. I worked with him. Super talented people. And you know, asked them, hey, you guys want to hire me in? And then they're like, yeah, we don't have room for you because Ben 10 is not getting renewed for a second season. So after that, I worked at a small studio. And then I worked on a small studio for like gaming for little kids. And after worked there for about 3 years. Met my wife there. And we got laid off because they're doing restructure. And then I reached out. I reached out to a friend that I knew at when I worked at Disney Interactive on Disney Infinity 2.0. And then I was like, hey, do you guys need help at Fox? And then he was like, let me ask the art director. And then the art director's like, yeah, give him a test. They liked me. I passed the test, went in for an interview, like a 4-hour interview. And then after like a month, they brought me on. And then I started from like as an associate artist. Now I'm a lead. So it's a long
Look at you.
where I am. Yeah.
Look at you. Good on you, Phil. I love that. Yeah, no, like that's like a really great, like aspiring story. Like that should be an animation story itself of what you just told me.
Yep.
Yeah. So here's the thing. I'm not gonna say his last name, but Dave. Remember I told you the guy who worked on Rick and Morty?
Yes.
That's him.
Oh.
Yeah,
okay.
I'm not gonna say his last name though, but yeah, he's you met me there too, Phil. Yeah, he's amazing at what he does, and like Dave, he's a legend. But it's just like people you meet. The industry is extremely small, and that's why like for me, I tend not to like badmouth anyone. It's because like if you say anything wrong, you're blacklisted immediately.
Yeah.
And but yeah, it's a crazy story, and it's of course like throughout that I also worked at Disneyland as a ride operator, and I worked at Universal Studios as a ride operator as well. But yeah, sorry. It's just like it became like 30 minutes of me talking about myself.
No, I love to hear it.
We appreciate it.
Yeah,
we appreciate it.
We like to, like, any of our guests that come on, like we want to give you like a platform to just say like, hey, like what are you passionate about? Like, okay, what's your drive? Like, why do you want to keep going for that? So obviously you do have a fire in your belly that this is something you love.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love hearing about art.
There's other people to do the same. You know, it's always good to hear inspiring stories, and it motivates you to get off your butts and actually do something yourself. You know, and that's ideally what we want for people.
And I know you just said a little while ago that you just don't want to like drop names and like, you know, because you'll get blacklisted, and I don't want that to happen to you. I was going to ask you about this. I didn't see this movie, but I know a lot of people had mixed feelings about Wish. So I don't know what's your take on Wish, because I know there was like background animation that was standstill, and then there was like the computer animation of the characters. Like I don't know like what, if you hated the art concept or the animation style of this at all.
This movie was awful. It was this was supposed to be like what Disney's like
100th
celebration.
Like,
that's a letdown.
It's really bad, and they make the villain like he's basically a good guy, and a girl comes in and ruins everything. The background animation, it looks really flat. It looks sort of choppy. I know what they're trying to get at, but it just wasn't good. Like it didn't stick the landing with me. Like I would prefer to watch Frozen over this. And the thing is that at least Frozen has good songs. There's no songs in this movie that's memorable. No characters that's memorable. They retcon a bunch of stories. Like what's it called again? Like she becomes the fairy godmother. right? And
Okay.
there's like a Robin Hood, and then it's like, oh, I'm gonna go start Zootopia, and then all of a bunch of our followings is basically the Seven Dwarves, and everything is completely retconned, and you're basically shitting on Walt Disney's legacy,
Mhm.
and this is how you do it. And this movie didn't make any money. Like it was so bad. Yeah, it's basically like Wish. It's basically Wish Tumblr Disney. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
not great. And
It did remind me a
go
little
ahead.
bit of the cell shading style that they used in Kingdom Hearts for some of the worlds in the third game. I don't know if you played the third Kingdom Hearts game, but it really reminded me of that art style, and it does look very, very flat compared to like movies that came before, like even Encanto. Encanto had a lot more personality than this movie. Way more.
Yeah.
And I only watched it once, and I can remember certain scenes from that movie a lot better than Wish.
Well, Encanto is also Pixar, so it's like
Yeah.
I know Pixar has like a good and bads, but like we've gotten ever since Tangled, like we found out that wow, Disney can actually make 3D movies sometimes even better than Pixar,
Mhm.
right? You got that, you got Frozen, you got Wreck-It Ralph, you got Moana, you got Frozen 2, right? And all of that basically overall, a lot of people really, really liked it. And during that time, Pixar wasn't doing that well, right? I think the last good Pixar movie, other than, according to what I heard, Inside Out 2 did really, really well in terms of what
Mhm.
people liked it.
That's doing really well.
Like for me, the last Pixar movie I watched was Coco,
Mhm.
right?
Oh, yeah.
And I
That's a while ago.
love that movie, and I didn't want to cry, and I cried at the end of that fucking movie. Yeah,
I think most people
remember
did.
me,
That was
like,
fantastic.
took you in the feels, man. That was so good.
Oh, I cried from beginning to end, honestly.
Yeah, it was. It was so good. And then like I didn't care about like Turning Red. I didn't care about what Elementals, and it's just
Ugh.
I heard Soul was good, but I didn't watch it.
I didn't
And
like Soul. Yeah, straight up did not
Okay.
like it. I just didn't like the story was cool, but it seemed a little forced for me. And
Mhm.
even like that art style as well, as when they were just like the little ghosty spirit clouds. I didn't like it. I didn't like it because they were just blobs to me. There was no definition to them. If I mean, if you're just a spirit or a soul, like how does a soul look like? If you're just like a blob.
Yeah.
But
yeah, it's just this movie just it lacks everything. Like I don't remember anything about this. Like other than the fact that this basically just crapped on Disney's legacy. It wasn't good.
Okay, because if I can be like a noob here, so right here in like the left corner where there's like a little light here, but between these two pillars, you know what that looks like to me? Just like a rough draft drawing to put on a storyboard. It wasn't like meant to be. It was just meant for the drafting versus being in the actual film. That's the way I see it.
Like a placeholder.
Yes. So so I see how you're saying like it's just choppy, like and even just right here at the little light where there's a tree behind the goat, it's still different to me. It just looks like they just got magazine pieces, chopped them up, and just put them together. If that makes sense.
Yeah, it's like they're trying to go for that, like it's sort of like we said, Smu. It sort of looks like 2D, like they're trying to make it look like 2D and 3D at the same time. Yeah, it's just it doesn't look good. Yeah, it looks like a
high school play.
High school play. Yeah,
it doesn't look good. No.
Yeah,
like go ahead. Go ahead.
Oh, sorry.
Sorry. No.
It's like, what was the last actual like Disney like animation studio movie that came out like prior to this? Right.
From Disney?
Yeah, from Disney animation, right? And not Pixar. Like the last one that I watched was probably Raya.
Oh, and The Last Dragon? Yeah.
Yeah. But that one, like at least I remember the styles, and plus my wife is Filipino, so like she loves that jungle stuff. So it's just like that movie was for her. But then she hated that movie. Right, but at least she remembers what part of the movie that like I remember this. There's a bunch of different tribes from the islands and stuff like that. There's some Philippines and like Ilicano and stuff like that. A bunch of other people, and then like we remember Aquafina for this movie. Like I don't remember anything. So yeah, it's just it's just not good like overall. And people are saying that this movie is so good, you should go watch it. And you guys are being too harsh, or you just like go watch it yourself and see what you thought. It just wasn't that great.
I mean, it's to me, I do it by word of mouth. I obviously saw positive reviews from Inside Out too, so I'm like, okay, like I'll take your word for it. You liked it, and I like the art style too. I just kind of don't like how, if you pay attention to like the emotional characters, you can see how they're just like fuzzy a little bit. That's just me, but I mean, I know people do like it because it's more details. It's more accent of their character. Yeah. So, but I will have to go see into that. But I know you mentioned earlier that you worked with Marvel, and then you retweeted it, and then I caught on to it of everybody else getting the hype for it is Marvel versus Capcom.
It's back, baby.
Oh my god,
Marvel, baby.
Marvel, baby.
I am so excited for this, guys.
I dropped my phone because I didn't realize what I was looking at. I was like, what the heck? And my phone just fell off my hand during the announcement. I was like, dang it.
Yeah,
I'm so freaking hyped for this. Bring it.
This is like a dream, right? It's because a couple of years ago there was a movement. I think it was back in 2022. It's called Free Marvel. 2021, yeah. It's like Free Marvel, or Free Marvel's Capcom, right? It was trending on Twitter for a while, and I'm not saying that Maximilian dude was the one who started it, but he's the one who sort of like was the face of it,
brought attention to it.
And the thing is, with the release of MVCI, Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite, like that game just was awful. It was, the gameplay was great, everything else sucked, right? What's it called? Chun-Li looked weird. Captain Marvel looked weird. And during that time, people didn't really like too much of what's happening with Marvel. And it's the first game in a Marvel versus series that did not include your staple Marvel character, which was Wolverine. It's the first game that didn't have Wolverine. So a lot of people, this is weird. Why is it like that? And the fact that this dropped and it was on a Nintendo Direct, even though it's going to be on most of the platforms, this is insane.
I mean, they could have announced this at Evo. Could you imagine how crazy that crowd would have been if they looked at that? Man,
if this was announced at Evo, yeah, people would cry. Like, it's sort of like that Sanjaya girl, you know? People are going to be crying, man. But yeah, this is huge.
I mean, this is the first release of that game since for 14 years. The last time this was released on consoles was for the PlayStation 2 and Xbox 360, and that was like in 2010, and was immediately pulled like 2 years later, I think, because of licensing issues or something, and it was never available after that. So people were like constantly begging Marvel and Capcom to re-release this somehow, and that's how this whole movement started. And I think Capcom and Marvel noticed, like, maybe we should do something with this. And that's how this whole thing started. And it's kind of wild that 3 years later, after that movement kicked off, that they actually managed to make a deal somehow to get this to work. And the games are crazy popular.
Yeah. So one of the reasons why I'm excited, because I grew up playing it. I don't know that also like the details that you guys are talking about, but the reason why I brought it up is like, I remember growing up when my grandmother would take care of us. She would go do her grocery shopping. My brother, sister, and I would be in the little arcade section of the grocery store, and we would just spend our savings as kids playing this game because we loved it. And it's a it's what Cal said. It's a staple game growing up. So, so that's why I'm like, I'm super excited to get it, because this is nostalgic for me. Like, this reminds me of playing it with my brother and sister at the little arcade at the grocery store.
And you get your bang for your buck with this, because you get 6 games, and then there's also the Punisher game that's super rare. And
it was only on Sega Genesis.
Yep, and you can play it online. That's the crazy part, because, I mean, granted, you can play it with other means online, but it's not as like stable as the release that will come out. But we'll have to wait and see, because the Capcom Fighting Collection was a bit wonky as well when it came to online. But having these games available to play again is going to be wild, especially on the Switch, just to take them on the go.
Yes.
Man, and it has rollback. So like if you're like a big if you're a big fighting FGC person, like rollback netcode is huge. It's like one of the it's like that or nothing else, right? You can't have delay base anymore. It's like, when are we? It's like 2024. What the hell are you doing? So now here's the thing: as a person who works at Marvel, I was talking to one of my producers, and I was talking to him. And the thing is that here's the thing: I don't work for Marvel. I work on a Marvel game. So like we're basically dev and basically working on a game. So I was talking to him. Me and him were just spending like half an hour, just like super excited about this arcade Capcom fighting collection, and we were talking to he told me that he's talking to a producer at Marvel who actually works at Marvel. He approves all of our stuff, and he said that, hey, you're going to be super excited that something's going to drop today during the Nintendo Direct. He's like, what is it? It's like you'll like it, trust me. And then when you see that, you're going to take you for a ride thing. He's like, oh shit, this is it, right? And he said, this is our Capcom test. This is our Marvel / Capcom test. And then they're like, okay, so what do you mean by that? So a couple of years ago, a Darkstalkers collection came out, and that collection did not do well. That's why there won't be a new Darkstalkers game that's going to be coming out from Capcom, is because it did not sell well. This game has to sell well. If it doesn't, you say goodbye to MVC4. You will not see Marvel. And this is from the producer's mouth. This is from the Marvel producer's mouth. This game has to sell well, like over 1 million units sold easily day one. And so if you guys like really, really like Marvel vs. Capcom, anything that has to do with the Marvel versus series, you have to buy this game. It's because you will not see another Marvel vs. Capcom. And the fact that you finally have Marvel, most of it at least in one house now. So you can have X-Men, Fantastic Four, all of that in a versus game.
Yeah, it's kind of wild, and especially because you have like playable characters in these new versions of the game that were previously unplayable. Like Magneto is actually playable in these re-releases now, or Cyber Akuma, who was in the Street Fighter versus X-Men game. It's kind of wild what these new ROMs are going to do for the game. And you can also tweak a lot of things. And I mean, look at the animation. You don't get games like this anymore unless you look like for anime fighters like Melty Blood or something like that. You don't get these kinds of games anymore. It's kind of wild, especially because it's like all 90s nostalgia.
Look at that Wolverine. Look at that Wolverine.
His face.
That's great.
I love it.
That's a great freeze frame.
Yeah,
that's a great freeze frame.
Man. Yeah,
especially
love
if you're a fan
art.
of the 90s.
Yeah,
it's great.
Imagine going like do you remember going to the arcade, putting a quarter when you're playing a Marvel Capcom? Yeah, let's go Payday. You're like, what was that? But yeah, it's like this is a huge win, and for just the people who are really, really into it. And yeah, like you said, the first time in a long time, more than a decade, you can get Marvel vs. Capcom 2. This is going to be huge.
The good thing is they're going to release it physically as well, so you have a way to keep it this time.
Yeah, I'm gonna buy the physical version for sure.
Yeah.
Another
Nomi's having
derpy.
fun with the freeze
I'm having fun with the freeze frames, guys. But yeah, no, like you guys, your excitement about this is just bringing me more excitement because, like I said, I have no knowledge of it, but like it's nostalgic for me. And I've always played the Capcom side versus the Marvel side. So, but like this is the stuff. Like I remember playing this one particularly at the grocery store when growing up, when my grandma was shopping. My brother, sister, and I would just lose it here. But the fact that it's going on digital copy, like how much would it need to make in order to like say it's profitable, Phil?
I'm not sure how many units need to be sold, but I would say definitely in terms of Marvel, like they need to see like $10 million for sure. Like they need to have like at least 1 million units sold within like a couple of weeks. Like it has to be really, really like really profitable for them. It's because if like I said, if this is not profitable to them, you say goodbye to any Marvel vs. Capcom in the future. It will not happen, and that's why 10 million copies. Yeah, like it has to do like crazy good. And the FGC and the fact that you got the beat 'em up, like the what's it called, the Punisher one, and you actually play as White Nick Fury.
White Nick Fury,
yeah. It's like I remember playing that game as a kid. I'm like, we finally get this. It's yeah, I would say at least 10 million copies need to be sold. And you know, I'm probably gonna buy a couple. Like just I might double
buy a
dip
few as
or
well.
something like that because I heard it's not
Yeah.
crossplay. Like you can't play
Nope.
like Steam versus PlayStation versus you can't do that. So let's say if I have a bunch of people who want to play with me on Steam, like I don't need to buy the Steam version. But if this game is like $40, it's an easy $40. You can sell this game for $60 or $70 and people will still buy it.
They would buy. They will easily buy it because that's a no-brainer. Funny story. I actually looked at a used copy of the Marvel superheroes that's on the screen right now. Just a day before that announcement, and used copies of that game go for like $150 to $500. That's insane. And I tried like doing emulation with it, but emulation is not like perfect with that game. And I just wanted to have a physical copy of that game, and just for like nostalgia's sake. But like finding a cheap copy was not easy. Like legit difficult to do.
Yeah,
I think cross-platform will probably be implemented down the line because Capcom is still testing the waters with cross-platform because they only just recently started with Street Fighter 6, and I think they and 5. So maybe they will implement something down the line, like they like Arc System Works did with Persona 4 Arena and the Guilty Gear games. But we just have to wait and see. Capcom's learning, but it's actually good to see that Capcom is remembering that there's actually still some gems out there that they can still throw out and see if that people still care for these things. And I think the hype alone for Marvel for the announcement on the Nintendo Direct was already enough to see that people want this for sure.
Yeah. Like speaking of it, this is not just like if this is really well, it's not just good for Marvel, it's also good for Capcom. Right. So let's say, imagine you're like, this does well, you get a Rival Schools collection, you get a Power Stone collection, you get you get all of these crazy games that Marvel has not, like you get like a crazy, like we got a Mega Man collection a couple years ago, and then that resulted in Mega Man 11. But when's the last time you got like a new Mega Man X game? Like a long time ago, right?
So, long time ago.
Like this will help both Capcom and Marvel, and as of right now, Capcom, like as of right now, they have Street Fighter 6, and they just announced they basically have a quote unquote SNK mini, right? Because they have Terry and Mai. But imagine if they also brought out SNK versus Capcom collection. I think
Capcom that will be the next one.
So good. Yeah,
I think that will be the next collection because they hinted at that this is a series of collections they're doing. Because the first one was the fighting collection with like Puzzle Fighter, Pocket Fighter, and all these crazy niche games. And then now you have this. So this is like part 2 of a series. So we probably will see a Capcom versus SNK collection down the line. Especially given how Capcom and SNK have changed their relationship again after a couple of years, because let's face it, they weren't exactly best buddies after that disaster that was SNK versus Capcom. So here's hoping that this will put enough eyeballs on it so people will get a new Marvel 4, and it's actually better than Infinite.
Yeah,
because
one thing,
the story behind Infinite is crazy. Sorry.
Yeah, I'm sorry for cutting you off, but it is crazy. One thing that I want to see them do is, because they only had it for one console, they never released it because of licensing issues. Maybe Capcom can talk to someone in Japan, like, hey, can we get an HD remaster of Tatsunoko versus Capcom? Because that's only released on the Wii.
On the Wii, yep.
It's like you need to re-release that game. So yeah,
people have been begging for that game for years as well.
Yes. But yeah, it's nostalgia, huge nostalgia for sure.
Just seeing like Hulk beating the living crap out of Ryu with Sakura doing the Showoken, that brings back memories. That's so good. The funny thing is, all these assets have been reused for Marvel vs. Capcom 2, but slightly tweaked. But it's kind of funny how they still work and still look good to this day. It's wild to me.
Yeah, no. I've always been a fan of would this be considered like 8-bit pixel? Not 8-bit, but like it's pixelated games.
It's like 16, I would say.
16, yeah, 16-bit.
32 at most, but it's probably 16.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Because I know the 8-bit's just like the little one. I don't know. I don't know a lot of things of digital stuff. That's why I have a professional like you and Smu here that can tell me these things. But no, I'm looking forward to that. And then just getting all this information that you're sharing on Marvel versus Capcom. Now, you said it's a licensing issue on both of them. Now, would it just only be a Marvel making that $10 million, or what would have to Street Fighter and Capcom have to see on their end?
I mean,
So
like profit wise.
So the thing is, they license their characters to Marvel. Marvel is the one who does everything.
Okay.
It's because if you actually look at the characters, like none of the characters are drawn by like people from Marvel. It's just the likeness. Like Bengus is the guy who does most of the work, right?
Mm-hmm.
So like if you actually look at the wallpaper or the art, the promotional art that came out, like that looks phenomenal. It looks so good.
Mm-hmm.
And so I would say this is just licensing. So this game helps out Capcom more than it helps out Marvel, because if this game doesn't do well, then Capcom wants to make the game, but Marvel's like, our last game failed, so you can't do it, right? So so the thing is that this will help Capcom more than Marvel, but they will need to make the same amount, like at least 10 million units sold. Like it has to do really, really well. Like, yeah, right there, holy crap, that's really, really awesome. I
love that artwork so much, and it actually encapsulates the iconic handshake between Cyclops and Ryu and the Marvel versus Street Fighter game. Oh, it's so good. The fact they recreated that is so freaking good. I love that so much. You got Rogue in the middle. Oh, man, it's like Venom, Bison, and Doom on the top. Mega Man is also there. I mean, you can't get any more nostalgic than this. This is like insane. I absolutely love that one.
Iconic handshake it's absolutely the best.
Yeah.
Nice. Well, good. I'm glad that this is like happening, because I even though like I didn't grow up knowing all these characters, besides like I knew who Mega Man was, like obviously like Cyclops, Wolverine, because I watched the 1990s version of X-Men. So I didn't know more of the story besides, watching whatever was on cartoons. I didn't learn. I didn't really involve myself in that because I had limited resources. But just seeing this, like, well, now I want to get into it, and I want to invest in it, because it's memory berries for me, basically. But they're doing it the right way that I'm seeing it.
Yep. They're doing it right, and if this sells well, we might actually do see another Marvel versus Capcom game. Hopefully we will, because the last one was a bit of a stinker. I mean, Infinite was gameplay wise, it was okay, but it looked like trash. Dante looked like a crackhead, and Dante is one of my favorite Capcom characters. My God, what they did to him was horrible, honestly. So yeah, I'm cautiously optimistic that this will do well, and I hope it does. So we can actually get some more stuff like this, and maybe it encourages Capcom to pursue more deals like this for a potential Capcom versus SNK 3 down the line. We just have to wait and see.
Yeah, or if I was Capcom, I'd be like, I like money. If that's what the people want, okay, I'll give what the people want, because I'm already sold on this. But not because make stuff or make product, consume it, and then be happy with it. I'm actually like looking forward to it. It's like, I don't care, because this was me as a kid growing up. So that's why I'm like, Capcom, if you're going to do it, I will gladly give you my money for that. But before we go into the next transition to our topic, we are going to say adieu to Dr. Rachel Lindbergh, who's going to take some hot emergency tea. How are you? Are you still feeling good with us, Rachel? I know you're going to get going pretty soon, or right now.
Yeah, I'm losing it. So I finished my nice emergency, and it was lovely, but my voice just gone and my head is spinning. So thank you for having me, Phil. It was great to chat with you.
Yeah, likewise. Hope you feel better.
Thank you. Smu, Nomi, love you both.
Thanks.
But I know you were going to say bye to chat, but do you have anything that you want to say what you're doing or promote anything?
Sure, I'll be quick. I promise. Tomorrow you can catch me on Dreaming Tabitha Arts channel. We will be doing a lovely art stream. I don't know if she
I'll be
wants
there
me to divulge the topic, but please be there. It's going to be a lot of fun. That's why I'm trying to rest up tomorrow so I can be ready for that. But otherwise, please check out my channel, Adeline Crafting. I do all kinds of art there. My next project is going to be in honor of House of the Dragon Season 2, which I'm really liking so far. I had to binge Season 1 like last week because I hadn't watched it yet, but I loved it. So in honor of that, I'm going to be making a dragon egg. So that'll be fun.
Ooh.
That's going to be good.
I actually can't wait to see that video. And I actually want to talk to you about like what you think about the first season of House of the Dragon.
Oh, absolutely. Anytime you want to like chat about House of the Dragon, I'm totally there.
Dude, let's do it. But right now, what I want you to do is get your rest that
Get some
you
rest.
need.
I will try.
Yes.
Thank you, everybody. Good night.
Good night.
Bye.
Bye, Rachel.
Good night.
Feel better. All right. Well, thank you, everyone, still hanging out with us in the chat over here on Twix and then here on the YouTube side. I really do appreciate it. I did have a topic here, but I don't know, Phil, if this is something like, because I don't want to get you in trouble, but there was a recent video that came out. It's the vice CEO or the vice president of Disney stating that they won't hire a white male. Is that safe to chat or no?
That's that's fine.
Okay.
That's fine.
All right. I have the video here. We'll share a little bit about it because I don't know what's your take on that of like them being really particular of like, yeah, like white man bad. We won't hire him.
There have been times where, there's no way we're hiring a white male.
It's kind of unspoken.
There are times when it's spoken, but
How would they say it?
there's no way we're hiring a white male.
Now, what's your take on that? Because I'm actually like, I'm not white, but like, what the heck? But that's actual racism.
Yeah. So
rough.
So here's the thing. Like I've worked with for a person who's been in the industry for quite some time. Like I worked with a lot of woke people.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they're woke. Some of them are like good people, but they're woke, right? And it's just the reason why they want to make sure that they want to look good to the public and and when I say the public, they want to look good to like BlackRock, ESG, DEI, like stuff. Like they want to look good whenever they show their leadership or anything like that. Like that's the reason why, like in the past couple of years, you've seen people who've done voices for a specific character for the longest time, right? Apu, Hank Azaria is no longer doing Apu. I'm not sure Apu is even a character anymore.
Didn't they
they
end him out?
got rid of him.
Yeah.
They got rid of him.
Yeah. So like the thing is that like a lot of like Indian people that I know, like they liked Apu. They given the fact that he's voiced by a white guy, they don't like that. Like, and when I say they, I'm talking about the select few, the loud minority that's on Twitter who is extremely upset about these kind of stuff. It's just like, oh, we want leadership to have like, why aren't leadership black, or why isn't leadership? Why are all leadership male, no female? It's like, well, it's because they got theirs because of the merit, and they don't like hearing that, right? So things when it comes to, for me being white adjacent, they basically they don't want to, because they want to look good, right? In a bad way. And it's sort of like I'm not that high up in the totem pole where I can make any of these decisions. But me seeing it is just, for me seeing it, it's just I'm like, what are you guys doing? Why can't you just hire a person based off of their skills or the merit, right? And it's who cares if they're all white guys or all all dudes? Who cares if they're all females and stuff? Like, if hire whoever's best for the job. I don't fuck.
Yeah,
like
that's how it should be.
It's like I remember what's it called again? There was I forgot what proposition it was. I think it might have been Prop 6 here in California, and they were getting rid of affirmative action. No, they're putting in affirmative action, getting rid of like the civil rights, whatever law, right? Okay. And what it is that a company can basically hire based off of skin, race, or whatever identity politics is, because, and they framed it in a way it's supposed to be more diverse. It's supposed to be good for the company. And I have a friend who's extremely woke, and he said, "Oh, are you going to vote for that?" I was like, "No, I'm not. I'm going to vote no on it. Is because that's garbage." And they're like, "Why?" I was like, "Don't you want to hire the best person for the job? Who cares how they look like? Who cares what race they are?" And he was like, "But you'll hire a black guy, right? If you were a boss." I'm like, "If he's the best for the job, I'll hire that
qualified,
person."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ideally,
it's
you
like,
want the most qualified, not just because of merit. You know.
yeah, it's like if you're looking for a mathematician, you hire only Asians. Don't hire me. You know, I failed algebra twice in high school. Do not hire me to do math stuff, right?
Yeah.
The thing is, like, if you're hiring, it can go in reverse for them. It's because if you can hire based off of race, that means that how about if I purposely hire a bunch of white dudes like that? That's against the civil rights law, right? And the thing is that it's also against what Ruth Bader Ginsburg, basically fought for in the 60s. And whether or not you agree with that, it's wrong. And I'm extremely happy that was like a 70% no. So, but the thing is that they're secretly not, according to James O'Keefe, not secretly doing this now, right? And the thing is that you get middle management are the people who starts this, right? And then they move their way up, right? And the thing is, a lot of people like this guy, he's probably like 35, 36 or something like that. And of course they have to say that. Of course they're going to hire, they have to hire black people. They have to look diverse, right? And it can't be diversity of thought. It has to be diversity of how you look like. And like I have a friend. Did you guys ever watch VR Troopers?
No, I never even heard of that.
Okay, VR Troopers is sort of like Power Rangers, but there's like 3 characters.
Okay.
A guy that I work with, he's what's it called again? He was the lead on that one. He was like the main guy, and his stage name was Michael Bacon, and what's it called again? I think that was his stage name, I believe. I don't remember now. But the thing is, he was trying to audition for this role, and he's black. But the thing is, they saw his headshot, and his agent says that, "Oh, they passed on you." He's like, "Why did they pass on me?" "Because you're not black." He's like, "What are you talking about?" He's like, "You're not black enough."
What?
Wow.
That's wild.
Like his skin color isn't dark enough. That's the reason why they didn't hire him. And he's like, "That's actually racist."
That's really
right?
bloody racist, man.
So like the thing is that, like, if that was allowed, and that was like back in the late 90s, early 90s, maybe. It's like it's worse now. It's because you have a lot of these people who have the same mindset. It's like, oh yeah, imagine if the next person of what's it called again? That plays T'Challa, if they're ever going to bring around the character, they're not going to bring a person. Yeah, they're not going to bring a person who's light skinned black. They're going to bring a person who's black skinned black, like darker. The darker it is, the better for them, and it looks better for them too. And that's the reason why, like, they are allowed to do this, but it's like, and they're also putting in keywords into these like hiring things, right? They'll ask like specific keywords, and it's how whenever you go in for a job application or whatever you write or something like that, they ask you a bunch of questions and surveys online. They look for specific keywords of like, where did you grow up and stuff like that, without asking you your race, and that's how they hire people now. And it sucks, like it doesn't matter if this person's a badass anymore, really, really good at a job. It's just like race talks now, and it's just identity politics is getting into everything. And I know we don't talk about politics, we shouldn't talk about too much about politics, but that's the reason why Kamala Harris is vice president. But I bet you if there was a darker there was like, if Oprah was another decision, Oprah is darker than Kamala Harris, so they would probably got Oprah on instead, right? It's if you're too light skinned, you ain't gonna cut it. And the thing is that white, according to Disney and a lot of these wool companies, it's not good. So it's that's my 2 cents at least. But yeah.
It's kind of a shame that it has come to this point, though, that you have to be so specific about your hiring practices and then exclude certain groups of people just because they don't fulfill a certain quota. instead of like going by hiring from merits and actually take the best person for the job. Because ideally, in most industries, you still do that, but in Hollywood, they just lost their way in a sense, right? Because they just look like who's going to look best on screen. It's like with the Blade movie that's a bit cursed, right? Because they brought on Mahershala Ali, who's a very good actor, but for some reason they just can't get a movie off the ground. Because I think they rewrote that script like 3 or 4 times already, and they have gone through like 3 or 4 directors, but for some reason they just can't get a movie done. That movie has been in production since 2019. I mean, just think about that. It's wild to me that they haven't gotten a Blade movie out around that time. I mean, Wesley Snipes is still there. He would probably do it if it gets the right amount of money. But then again, who wants to work with Wesley Snipes nowadays? That's the other problem, right?
Yeah.
And considering his recent comments that he made about the Blade, I wouldn't be surprised if Marvel would say like, yeah, no, we're gonna pass on you.
Yeah. And the thing is, it's not just not just race now, right? It's like you have to be that person. So let's say, wasn't there a movie a couple of years ago? I forgot, maybe 5-10 years ago now, that Scarlett Johansson was supposed to play as a trans person.
Really?
And they canceled it is because she's not trans.
I vaguely remember that. Now that you say that, but
right?
Was it really because of that?
Yes, according to what I heard, it's like she's not trans. How can you do that? Well, there was a movie, I forgot what it was called already. I believe Felicity Huffman played a trans person. I forgot what it was called already. Well, she wasn't trans, but that movie was like a major breakthrough because it talks about trans and gay and stuff like that, right? It was so.
Robin
that
Tucker
means
was the movie. Robin Tucker.
And there's what's it called again? Did you guys watch Last Airbender? The live action.
The Netflix one or the M. Night Shyamalan one?
Netflix.
No, I haven't seen that one.
No.
So the Netflix one, that one I think is like mid at best, right? But the thing is, Toph, you know who Toph is, right?
Yeah.
They're actually looking for a blind Asian person to play Toph. It's like you have to have limited visibility or blind. And then I'm like, all Asians have limited visibility. Just hire anyone, one of us.
You're squinting, right?
Yeah, it's like, hey, I naturally look like that, right? So that I'm like, if that's the case, then like, you have to, if you're a gay person, you're a straight person, or you have to play that character, right? For instance, the guy who was in who's married to Megan Mullally, he played Bill in the Last of Us TV show. Forgot his name already.
Pedro Pascal?
No, the one who played the gay guy.
Nick Offerman.
Nick Offerman. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's not gay. He's straight.
He's not.
Yeah.
Right? But the thing is that he played a gay guy. Why didn't the gay people get mad? Right? It's sort of like they pick and choose. It's because maybe Nick Offerman is on their side, they're the correct side, or political sphere, or whatever you want to call it. Maybe he's extremely woke. I don't know what it is, but the thing is, you have to basically be on their side now, and it's just with the whole thing with what's it called again? Dave not being dark enough to play in Lilo and Stitch, right? And
I remember that.
People are like, they were basically going through they went through that dude's eye, like freaking his what's it called again? What's the music app that people use? I don't use it. The green one. Everyone uses it.
The Korean music app?
No, the music app. The green music app. I forgot what.
Spotify?
Yes, I don't use Spotify. So the thing is, they have to dig through this guy's Spotify to find out like music he's listening to and stuff like that, just to find out this person's a bad person.
What?
It's
That's
so
insane.
Yeah, I think it's just like, okay, now they finally got rid of him. They switched up because originally they're like, Nani, the sister, is too white. She's too light skinned, but like she fits the part. She's she's either kind of like she's either Hawaiian or half Hawaiian, right? It's like they fit the part. They look like the character. It's like, but they're not dark enough. It's like, are you serious? It's like well, what about Little Mermaid? Why is she black? Why is she redhead? It's
don't know.
Trying to rewrite history. So
yeah.
it's just that they love doing that kind of stuff. And the thing is, these people just want to put their what's it called again? Their thumbprint in this thing. They want to be immortalized either in writing or they want to be done by self-inserting themselves. This character is actually modeled after me, the writer or whatever like that, right? It's because they have nothing to amount to, right? And or that guy who James O'Keefe video. Maybe he's a male feminist. He wants to get laid and he can't, right? And he's one of those, the white knighters and stuff like that. He's like, oh, guys, don't make fun of her. That's cruel. I have a lot of friends who are like that, who are just like, look, the reason why you're saying all of these things is because you want to get laid and you can't. So you're saying these things to these girls. Hopefully one day they will see you as a last result. And it's like, all right, let's do it. Right. And I don't know. That's how I'm seeing it. And from a person who's been in the industry for such a long time, I see it. I can't really say anything about it, is because who am I, white adjacent straight man? What do I know about oppression? That kind of stuff. And it's sad.
Yeah, it's kind of sad that we can't even talk about this kind of stuff, especially because we are like of white skin, right? It's kind of dumb.
I mean, ideally, I'm Mexican. I'm now white adjacent as well. So
yeah, I mean, I'll be honest. I don't see people in color. I just take people for who they are with their personality, and that's ideally how it should be. And I kind of forgot when we got off that path and actually went down that path of like, instead of being anti-racist, being super racist all of a sudden. And it kind of baffles me that this kind of stuff can fly nowadays. It still does. And people don't bat an eye because they think they do the right thing regardless of that. And it just baffles me that we can get away with that stuff.
Yeah.
And then going back to what you said earlier, Phil, is like, well, Nick Offerman, he didn't get any like heck or like trash thrown at him because he's not gay or anything. Honestly, I thought that as well when The Last of Us was coming out. The way I see it is like, because the bear community probably wanted to see this happen and wishes Nick Offerman was a gay guy.
Yeah.
Because it's entertaining the thoughts.
Yeah, like it's sort of like that's the reason why like every voice actor in order for you to play this character you have to be Asian. It's like why? Like why? Who cares? Is this person the best person for the job or not?
It's like with Mike Henry from Family Guy, right? He had to leave his role as Cleveland Brown as well because of this whole nonsense, right? Wasn't there like a whole controversy about that?
Yeah, he does a bunch of other voices too, but his main voice is Cleveland. Yeah, and he can't do Cleveland anymore.
It's so stupid.
Yep.
Well, I mean, I know like when this movie came out a few years ago, which was Ghost in the Shell, it was Scarlett Johansson who was the lead, and everyone lost their minds of it because she's not Asian.
Yeah. But if you actually watch videos online about Japanese people reacting to it, it's like, oh, that's a good cast. They like that she's playing, Makoto. Yeah, it's like okay, if the actual people actually is okay with it, why? It's because they're the people who are upset are offended on your behalf, right? It's sort of like, like people, entitled leftist people here in the United States are like, hey, you're a black person. How do you feel that someone's taking a job away from you? Right? It's like they never thought about that until you mentioned it. It's like I think it's fine. This person does a good job. It's like, yeah, but that job should belong to you because you're a black person and they are not. It's like that. And it's like they're trying to like white knight for you. It's like, hey, I'm doing this for you. I'm trying to help you out. Right. And it's like, dude,
who are you?
Who cares?
Yeah, who are you? Leave me alone. Like, right? But there's two good examples of out of Hollywood that I can highly recommend. Alita Battle Angel, excellent movie. I actually like that one.
I like that one too.
And they didn't even hire an Asian girl to play Alita. So there you go. That's one other example. And the other one is Edge of Tomorrow, which was also called All You Need Is Kill. And it was based on I think it was a manga. And no, it's starring Tom Cruise. And he actually kind of popularized that one quite a lot. And I didn't even know it was based on a book before, or like a manga, before I actually saw the movie. And then I went back and read it, and it was like very faithful to the source. And I actually like that. And that was a Western adaptation done right. And that movie is still very popular and very good, in my opinion.
Yeah, I love that movie. That movie's great.
Yes.
And then I guess like go ahead, Smu. Go ahead and say it.
I mean, love or hate Tom Cruise, right? If you watch that movie, you will get a lot of bang for your buck when it comes to Tom Cruise dying in that movie. I'm just saying, if you don't like him that much, but you like Emily Blunt, you get a pretty good movie out of it.
Yeah, but I was going to go ahead and segue into like the video game aspect, because I know you are definitely playing Stellar Blade, and I know there was like a lot of heck that came to Stellar Blade about the Korean model who did the model for the game. So like, what was your take on that? Like, she fit the role. She clearly fit the role. I know a lot of men loved and appreciated it, but like, I had no problem with it. I was like, no, I'm not gonna, like we said earlier, I'm not gonna watch a land whale go up a zip line and see blubber fat versus boob fat like flying everywhere.
I mean, Phillip did all the marketing for the game, you guys. If you are on Twitter, his videos were literally everywhere.
Yeah, the crazy thing, one of my videos, like one of my clips that went sort of viral, I would say, got like what, I forgot how many impressions.
One had 6 million clicks or something like that. One of them.
Yeah, it was a lot. And the thing is, I got so much attention that even the official Stellar Blade account followed me. So
I think that's an accomplishment.
So
yep, it is.
The thing is that a couple years ago, it was like 2022, 2021. It's like an early version of this game was talked about. I think either during E3 or I think it might have been Game Awards. I think probably Game Awards. And I'm like, I was like, wow, this girl's hot, right? It's called Project Eve, back in the day. I was like, wow, that girl's hot. It's coming out from Korea Studio. Okay, this game looks great. Hopefully, it's not just all looks, and the game actually plays well. Okay. And then
before we continue, we got Lily, who's joining us finally here. Hey, Lily.
Yo. Sorry, like an hour and a half late. What's up, guys? What's up, Phillip? It's like so great to meet you. Yeah, I'm so sorry I'm late, guys. I'm like, I was getting into a little fight with people. That's why I had a meeting right now.
Yes.
Fight, you say? Okay.
She's been having bangers of, she has been having fire tweets recently. So so she's got to, contain the fire. That's what she was doing.
Yeah, I had a family thing. I'm so sorry, but I was trying to get here as quickly as possible. Because I was like, I can't miss this. I'm like, I'm always seeing Phillip like all over the place. And I'm like, oh my God, I want to talk to him.
No, well, we got some time to still talk with Phil, but we were talking about Stellar Blade and the backlash. I wouldn't call it backlash, but the upset people, mainly the woke people, not using a realistic female versus a Korean model who actually fits the role of the game.
Oh my gosh. Oh man. Take
it away, Phil.
Crazy discourse. No. Sorry, I interrupted you guys. Go ahead.
No, you're good. You're good.
No, I'm sorry, Lily. That's right. Go ahead.
Yeah. So the girl on the left is Shin Jae-yoon. She's a Korean model, and she does a lot of modeling. But she's actually just the body for Eve, right? The face was actually modeled according to the I forgot his name already. Hyun Tae Kim or something. I believe that's his name, which is the creator. He basically mentioned that they came together with a bunch of like artists and modelers and to come up with the most perfect, beautiful Korean woman, right? So that one was done in-house, and I believe Shin Jae-yoon's face was actually done for Taki, which is the side character. And the thing is, when this game was officially announced to be called Stellar Blade, everyone's like, wow, and then she's insanely hot, and of course you get the crazy loud minorities that's on Twitter basically saying, how dare you, sexualize people like that? There's nobody who actually looks like that. And then And then you see her. I think there was a footage release of her like doing her like posing, right? And I believe she also does a couple of poses for Lily as well, which is the other character in the game. And I'm like, what's wrong? Why are people so upset? And the thing is that people are so upset is because this is the whole gamergating again. You know, the whole Anita Sarkeesian. You know, this is not for male gaze. How dare you sexualize women? Bayonetta bad, 2B bad, and now Eve bad from Stellar Blade. And the thing is, what makes it worse is they think this is extremely bad. Oh, you're you know, I got, you know, so many people that commenting on my viral video that they're extremely upset. It's like, how look at this guy gooning all over, you know, 2D pixels, 3D pixels. You know, this guy is awful. You know, I can't believe this guy has a wife and a son. Yada yada yada. Right. But the thing is, like, this game has no nudity. Like, you get like, it's not even softcore nudity. Like, there's no nudity at all. Of course, it's very suggestive and adult theming, but there's no like actual like sexual references at all. It's like at most, like one of them is like the fisherman after you collect off all the cans, he's like, hey, can you know, I'll give you this dress. And then she was like, you know, I can kill you for this, making me wear this dress. It's like, look, this is just, you know, for you. And then you wear it, and it's like a really nice looking bikini, right? It's sort of low cut, and you know, her boobs are probably the biggest in that outfit. No, her butt's the most biggest in that outfit. So yeah, a lot of people are like, oh, this game is so bad. But at the same time, you have games like Cyberpunk 2077 where you can have sex with one of the characters in first-person view with them completely naked. You have Baldur's Gate 3 where you can have sex with a bear, and you know, you can have gay sex or lesbian sex, like, and no one's complaining about that. But why are they complaining about this, right? It's because this game does not have any LGBTQ representation. That is why. Correct. In my opinion. I think that's the reason why people are extremely upset, right?
That makes sense.
Go ahead.
And because it pushes a beauty standard that's unheard of in the West nowadays. Because if you look at the female character models in games nowadays, they always have this signature weird chin, like this very masculine or like very model's chin, especially with Mary Jane. That was very obvious. Or like with the protagonist of the new Star Wars game that's going to come out relatively soon as well. And then you have Eve popping up out of nowhere, looking like an actual woman. And then people coming out like, but she looks like a child and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, you have no idea what you're talking about. Like, you're just nitpicking at this point. And yeah, honestly, the body model, they did a stellar job with that one, pun intended. But also, if you look at it from that perspective as well, people complain about Bayonetta and 2B back in the day, but weirdly enough, they changed their focus and praised them retroactively once Stellar Blade came out. I was like, I see what you bastards are doing. You're trying to change history here, you know, and that's not how this works. And I think it's just they want to be outraged for outrage's sake and clickbait, and that's why they want to like try to stoke the flames, especially with this whole outfit change controversy. If you don't have the physical disc, that you constantly get censored outfits and all that stuff. And I think it's unnecessary that they mandate this stuff onto you as an adult, because this game's rated M, and I find that very weird that they tell adults how to enjoy their time and how to consume their media. And I'll tell you this much.
But it's because, like you were saying, that this is just a problem over here in the West, because, yeah, if you look at all of these people that are against all of this, I'm sorry, but it's usually all of the land whales that absolutely do not look like this. And I mean, I'm sorry, but to me, there's still a certain kind of standard for women and men. Right. And I'm looking at pictures of her because I'm not familiar with her. And like, she's gorgeous. So of course, all of these like 500-pound, like friggin' land whales are going to be like, no, the man can't have fun and like play these games with these beautiful women. Like, why aren't they paying attention to me? And it's like, dude, really? Like, I'm sorry, just let the guys enjoy some things like this. Like, it's an escape thing. And when I'm playing like whatever video game I happen to be playing or whatever, and if there's like a hot dude in it, let me enjoy it.
Yeah.
Let
Yeah,
me enjoy
Yeah.
it. Like, Jesus, like, why does this have to be such a big issue? It's like, just let people enjoy things. Oh my gosh. And yes, like Smu said, why do you have to constantly be telling people how to enjoy things?
Mm-hmm.
If you're buying this, you're an adult. Why are they telling you not to? Oh no, we have to like cover up certain body parts because really? Like, I'm spending my money, giving it to you, and you're telling me how to enjoy this game. Like, give me a break.
I mean, let's be honest here. Look at how much escapism we have left nowadays.
None.
Video games are probably the only bastion of escapism that is left that has remained untouched for quite some time until it has been Hollywoodized to oblivion. I mean, if you look at the most popular games nowadays, there's a lot of walking and talking, and a lot of like bombastic cutscenes. Especially if you look at the Sony blockbuster games that came out like fairly recently, like Uncharted, God of War, Horizon. One you name them, right? Most of them are very Hollywoodized these days, especially from Western studios. And you see this weird trend of like seeing more and more like indie developers stepping into the foray and actually focus on what's actually more important, like the gameplay first and then the story second. But they make very compelling games in the process. And it's almost like the tides have turned quite a lot, that the indie games are taking it back to how gaming used to be, fun and entertaining, and helping you escape from reality for a little bit instead of like dragging you to current year and current year politics as well.
Yep. And the thing is that like this game is mature, but there's no actual nudity. And the thing is, like, if you guys think this is bad, like, you guys don't know Shift Up's original, like, one of their flagship games that they work on is called Nikkei and the Goddess of Victory, and that game is full on. Yeah, I played that on stream too. It was great for that first 15 minutes. But that game is extremely lewd. Like,
Yes.
like Nomi or Lily, have you guys seen Nikkei?
No.
I don't think I have, no.
Oh, okay, all right.
I played it a while when I played it a while when the 2B expansion came out, but man, oof, I stopped playing after that. I was like, nope, I'm not gonna do that again.
Let me.
The art is insane.
See if I can share an image. I'm not sure.
The artwork for that game is insane.
Yeah.
And by the way, the character designer, the character designer for Stellar Blade was a woman, by the way, not a man. Because there was also these incel comments being made back in the day, and it's kind of wild, you know.
Well, yeah, because if I'm gonna design a character, I'm not gonna make her ugly. Like,
Okay, so me as the woman, and my target audience is men. I'm gonna put some boobs and butts in there because that's what's gonna make me money, and that's what's gonna get you guys to like enjoy
but it's not even just about the men either. Would you want to play a character that's supposed to be a woman that's ugly and looks like a guy? Like, no, I wouldn't. Like, I'm not at all a gamer. I don't pretend to be, but I've played a couple of games, and every single time that I get to the character selection, I'm not gonna make myself ugly. Like, sorry, it's just not gonna happen.
I mean, just look at that.
Oh, I did see this. I think around on Twitter. Yeah. And I mean, whatever. Let the guys have fun. Whatever. Seriously, jeez.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. God forbid men enjoy things.
I know, and you know what? Like, it's a feminine form. Like, I would be a little worried if guys wanted to play with, you know, someone who looks like a dude, and they're like, yeah, like, no, this is not. Like, that's fine. I'll be honest, I don't care.
When I can create a character in the game, I deliberately never create myself. I say this story multiple times on various streams. I'm playing Final Fantasy 14. I'm playing a Lalafell. That's like the tiniest race in the game. And I'm a freaking paladin. Now I reach people's kneecaps for the most part. And I'm taking down the giant freaking monsters. Like, why would I play myself? That's like boring. Like, I would rather play like an overdramatic looking or badass looking, I don't know, like grizzled old man instead. overplaying myself. I mean, I look at myself in the mirror every freaking day. I don't need to see myself in a freaking video game, for crying out loud. Like,
Yeah,
and,
for sure.
and that it's exactly what Smu said. Like, if you're playing a video game and you are usually making the best version of yourself, if you're going to make yourself.
exactly.
Right? Like, you're gonna make the best, the most top tier version of yourself. You're gonna give yourself like a Giga Chad like chin and like rock hard pecs and like washboard abs or something like that, right? And the thing is that like and the thing is that they're like, oh, you're looking at girls that are like unrealistic proportion, and you're like it's the standards are insane. Like, there's no one can actually measure up to your standards. I'm like, well, here's the thing, there are girls who have massively big breasts and a big ass, and there are men who look like Ryu and Dante, like the extremely ripped buff guys. But you girls, or the girls who are like the land whales who are complaining about this, like you look at Asterion from Baldur's Gate 3, you look at Ryu or or Chun-Li or whoever that you think that's attractive, and you're okay with it, especially for the males. But when it comes to male looking at the female characters, it's not okay, right?
Yeah,
it's double standard.
It is a double standard.
I mean, I'm not playing Lalafell because I'm a potato. Okay, I may be German, but that meme doesn't continue.
I'm like the opposite of Smu. Whenever I play a game, just like Phillip said, I try to make it look like what I would want to look like. So yeah, for sure. That's why I have no issue with it. It's like, whatever. It's just fun. Like, I don't know why people get so angry about this stuff. And to be honest, and then to the same thing, I don't know why all these game developers listen to these people. They're probably not even buying the games. They're just on Twitter trying to be little keyboard warriors, trying to upset everyone, keeping people from having fun. And in reality, they probably just shut down their computer and they're like, all right, my work's done for the day. Now on to not play these games that I'm angry about.
Well, let me pirate them instead.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, that's what they usually do.
In Final Fantasy, what's it called again? In Final Fantasy 14, I originally made like a Tifa looking girl, and then I was playing with my mods, and then I was like, what's like, are there boob sliders in this game? They're like, no. I'm like, okay, which race has the biggest boobs? Like the large female human. I'm like, all right. And then I basically, I was running around with her in a bikini the entire time. Like, I did that all the way up until Endwalker, and then I finally put on armor in the last expansion.
Dang.
That's funny.
I mean, I'll be honest. There was this. I saw this question being passed to the director of 14, asking if there will be any LGBT representation in the next expansion coming out, and the director said no. Why should there be? Because the characters are very diverse as is, and if you want to be lesbian, then by all means, then pretend to be one in the game. But leave me alone with that crap. You know.
Oh my gosh! Because like, what are you gonna approach each other in the game and be like, "What are your pronouns?" Like, seriously?
You would be surprised what kind of stuff you can do in people do in that game just to get in-game money.
You'd be surprised. Oh no, I know what you're talking about.
I'm getting constantly approached by these things, and I'm like, yeah, no, leave me alone with that. Especially when I'm playing offline, I'm like, nah, I don't want it.
There's actually like a strip club kind of thing. Like, I think it's like every Saturdays, and like people will go in and they'll role play really, really hard that they're like moonlighting as a stripper, and like people actually give them like Gil and stuff. So it's actually,
my gosh, that's so funny. Oh man,
no. And then, so we are coming towards the end of the show a little bit. I did say last call, so feel free to ask our panelists and our guest a question about our topics that we talked about today. And then, Phil, I know you made a video earlier on your own channel on Project Emerald, which I highly recommend everybody go check out. But you did this coverage about Adobe over dark practices that they're slightly hindered all cancellations.
Yeah, so the thing is, I talked about it, and it was I was listening to Legal Mindset's video because from a lawyer's standpoint, and shout out to Legal Mindset Andrew.
Yeah.
And he was talking about how like there's a TOS they put in, like they announced a couple of weeks ago that they're using AI, and they can basically everything that you're using will be can be stored into the cloud in their system if you're using it. So that means that, as artists, for me, like they can basically, whatever you draw, it's sort of, they can, because they want to train their AI to look better. That at least that's for Photoshop, but it's anything that's a part of the Creative Cloud suite. And I think it's like $54.99 a month, right? And but the thing is that if you want to cancel it, it does not tell you that, it doesn't tell you what the cancellation terms are. It just tells you you'll be charged an early termination fee. But the thing is, the term, when you subscribe for a month, your monthly subscription, you have to subscribe for a minimum of a year for you to cancel. So that's like one thing that it does not say. So if you were to cancel, you're gonna get a bunch of like termination fees, and that's like illegal practice. They're not telling you all this kind of stuff. And the thing is, I was like, okay, I was talking to my art director, and I was like, so we work with Photoshop. What's your thought and takes on this whole Adobe thing that they're using AI to, they could potentially steal your stuff? And he said, we have to basically wait until Disney says something. It's because our company itself is too small. Let's let the Papa Disney do all their work. So I found out yesterday that there is a lawsuit that's happening between Adobe and not Disney, but the United States in general. The entire DOJ is suing Adobe.
Oh my gosh.
And it's huge. And according to Andrew, it's like they basically fucked around and found out.
Yeah.
And
Wow.
they made a lot of money too. I believe they made like 70 billion or something like that. And like
They made a lot.
Since like 2022, they made a crap ton of money. And now it's just, they basically, like the government uses all that kind of stuff, and it's like all your stuff is like disingenuous. You're hiding a bunch of your stuff in your TOS. You don't tell people. You kind of opt out of it, and you're charging people all this money. So it's basically, there's like two guys on there. I believe one of them is like the salesperson, like the leadership of sales, and one of the other leaderships, and they're basically getting sued, and it's crazy. So I'm not sure what's going to happen. Yeah, but I've seen a bunch of people who are canceling and stuff like that. And yeah, it's basically, if you do cancel, you're going to get charged a crap ton of money for just trying to cancel. So it's pretty crappy.
Now, what's your take? Because I know that you are a 2D artist. Like, do you feel threatened by AI art that is now seeming to be more popular and taking over? And I know, what was that lame Marvel TV Disney show that came out?
Secret Invasion.
Yes, there we go. Secret Invasion. The beginning, the intro was all AI.
Yeah. Yes and no, right?
Okay.
Like, I think the fact that using it as a sole, like, you're like, you know what, I'm just gonna type in a bunch of prompts, here's my art, like that kind of stuff. Yeah, that's crappy, and it uses a lot of people's art style, like even like Kim Jung-ji, who passed away a couple of years ago, right? He's a fantastic artist from Korea, and like it's even using his style, is referencing off his style. Sakimi-chan, which draws a bunch of big boob ladies, which is fantastic. What's it called, an art germ, and a bunch of like even like Loish, like all of these people stuff are getting sampled, right? They're being sampled without their knowledge and consent, and basically, it is scary what it can do. But the thing is that I think people who don't accept the fact that is, we'll just use this as a tool to help us, but not our main stuff. Because as of right now, there is a look to AI. Like, you can tell it's AI. Character designs, backgrounds, all that kind of stuff, you can tell. But it can only get better and better. But as of right now, I don't know how it's going to be in a couple of years. But as of right now, I think that it's scary, but it's not at the point where it can replace my job or like the jobs that I'm working on. However, concept art, visual development, background artists, like a lot of those people will most likely either get put out of the job or something like that, or one way or another. And unfortunately, it's just how you roll with the tools. It's sort of like when automation happened, right? Going from making cars by hand into going to factory. Did we think that a bunch of people lost their jobs? Probably, but it made jobs a lot easier. So it's just what are people's thoughts on automation, right? But the thing is, California in April 1st, put out this, this dumbass law that, if you have more than 60 locations of the same thing, like McDonald's, every fast food worker will be paid $20 an hour, right? Which is insane. And then what they did was that, everything is now kiosk. They fired a bunch of people, and then even in Pasadena, there's this Flippy Burger place now. That's like there's no employees in there. Everyone in there is only one person in there, and then everything else is a machine, right? They have never these machines, these $4,000 hamburger flipping machines has never heard of a union, never heard of a sick day, so they rather hire them. So the thing is like, it's how people approach these kind of stuff. It really depends. But in terms of art, there is a look to it. But as of right now, it's not as threatening. But AI has grown exponentially the past 2 years than it have in the past 10.
What I noticed as well when you mentioned the kiosk thing was a restaurant in my hometown recently opened up, and it's like a bowl place where you can mix and match your own bowls, basically. You order from an iPad, and the whole meal is being cooked in the back. But most of the restaurant is just empty. It's just like drones delivering the food to your table, and that's it. There's only one mechanic at hand if these drones malfunction. But that's like the future. You only have like people working in the kitchen, and that's it. I find that rather weird, considering that you have these laws in place that you pay these people extra money, but you shorten staff just to actually make that cut. I mean, granted, I'm a nurse, and I'm working with people all day, and I'm kind of glad that I won't be so easily replaced by machines anytime soon. I mean, granted, it could happen, but I'm kind of glad that I don't have to worry about that kind of stuff. But I can imagine, like, for artists especially, is whether it's musicians, digital artists, what have you, or concept artists, that it is a threat to their livelihood. And I can kind of understand why some people are against that. But there's also other people who say we should embrace that tech more and actually use it as a tool to improve on our work instead of just like letting the tool do the job for you. That's ideally how it should be. But some people just don't want to see it that way because it's all new. It's like back in the day when computers weren't exactly as powerful as they are now. We were all against like certain tech as well, like or mobile phones even. The sheer idea that we have a tiny computer in our pockets is insane to me. Still, and
like no one ever thought of it. Hey, I heard this new thing on TV where you can heat up your food with radiation. That's on the space side.
Microwaves will never be a thing.
No way. That's fake news, man. Ain't gonna happen. Not on my watch, right? And then all of a sudden, everyone has a microwave in their house. So
microwave.
It's wild, isn't it? It is wild.
But yeah, maybe I don't know if it'll change in the future, like you said, but. To me, I don't know, it just kind of loses that connection and the emotion that the artist actually puts into their work, though, because I've heard like music that people have made with AI, and it just, I don't know, there's just something always off about it that you just don't get the same feeling. Like when you're watching composers, I've been watching a lot of videos of Hans Zimmer making his scores. And man, that guy is so passionate about it. And he comes up with the wildest ideas that he's like, what if we use this like really weird instrument that we've never heard of and like do this with it? And like, you think AI is going to be able to come up with something different like that? I don't think so. And then to the same effect, like with artists as well, you're paying attention to these details when you're making it with AI. Look at how much everybody was clowning on AI when it came out. You could tell that it was fake because of the hands. AI doesn't know how many fingers we have. So it was just kind of putting out what it thinks a human being looks like. But whenever you're creating something, you're aware of this stuff and you're coming up with the details and you're putting your emotion into it and you're deciding what you want it to look like. And with AI, it's just, I don't know, it's just very soulless. So I don't think, at least now, I don't think there's any way you can replace any single artist. Future, who knows, but hopefully not. And we'll still be able to tell and still be able to be like, no, I think I'd rather get a painting or something done by a real human being.
Yeah. I mean, it brings me back. had to think of something when you mentioned the music, AI music. I listened to 3 specific songs the other day, and I was laughing my ass off because it sounds so ridiculous. One was Arthur Morgan singing Bakamitai in Japanese and English. The other one was Drake singing in Japanese. He was singing the Junes theme from Persona 4. That was ridiculous as well. It sounded very authentic as well. Then I listened to Frank Sinatra singing a Snoop Dogg song, and I was like, what the heck?
Oh my gosh, that's weird.
And weirdly enough, it sounded very convincing, but you had to you have to suspend your disbelief to actually think it's not real. It's that's why AI will still have a hard time. But if you see all these deep fakes going on, and that some people put online, like putting Arnold Schwarzenegger on like Whitney Houston's body and make him sing like Whitney Houston, it is the weirdest kind of stuff to see online. It's
so
a nightmare for you all. You say, "Oh, I'm gonna dance with somebody." You know, it's wild to me. My dad said that to me. He's not even on TikTok or YouTube, and he was like, "Have you seen this video?" I was like, "No." You just sent me that random video. I was like, "What the heck?"
Like, why?
With Arnie's face on Whitney Houston's body, with his voice singing "Dance with Somebody," it was nightmare fuel. I think it's even on YouTube.
Oh man,
it's crazy.
Now I'm gonna have to look it up for it.
I know. Great. Now I'm curious.
I'll put it in the chat for you. Let me find it for you.
And then there was one question that came. It was a while earlier, but Samash says, "What's the panel's view on nostalgia versus real quality? I've been seeing people argue that nostalgia is elevating mid media of the past while downplaying modern media. I think it's co-personality." So that was like a good question. I want to hear from your perspective, Phil.
Wow.
Okay, so he's not. I'm assuming you're he, but you're not technically wrong. You're not technically wrong on that. So there are stuff that sort of like you put on nostalgia goggles. You know, back in my day, we used to look. You can make stuff with your hands. You know, like it's basically like that. But I get it. But there are quality stuff back there. Like if you go back and watch, what's it called again? The original Ghostbusters. Right, the original, right? Like that still holds up. It's still good.
Yes.
Like there's a lot. It's like go back and watch Jurassic Park 1. Like look how good the dinosaurs look.
Yes. Oh my gosh.
It's still now. Like the thing is that now you've seen so many of like the Jurassic World stuff. It's sort of like looks mundane. It's nothing. It's so simple, and that's the reason why. When you look at stuff back then, you're like, okay, wow, this is great. But there are stuff that are absolutely dog shit, right? But then you find those really, really good ones. It's sort of like people who imagine watching like specific movies that are just like bad and you're just like, oh, this looks awful. Whoever watched this? It's sort of like, look at all this like animatronic work back in the day. Like for me, I'm like, oh, the animatronic work is better now, but it's just sort of like the quality of how it was done was groundbreaking. For me, I'm probably gonna get a lot of shit for this, but I think Nightmare Before Christmas is mid, right?
Oh, I love it.
Okay, it's for me. I thought it was mid, but the thing is that I didn't appreciate it when it came out, right? It's like because if you look back then, like what was the stop motion animation that was done before, like Rudolph, Frosty the Frosty the Snowman. You don't get, and then all of a sudden you get something that's really groundbreaking, that looks really good and smooth, and then I get why people love it. I get why it was so groundbreaking. But the thing is that now you see stuff now, it's like, oh, Kubo and the 2 strings, oh, that looks great, but like I've seen this before. But it's T2 really, it's still the animations for the T1000, the liquid metal, still holds up to today.
Those effects are old now. They're freaking old.
Yep.
It is. To piggyback what you were saying about stop motion. I mean, I respect what Nightmare Before Christmas did in terms of stop motion, and like it's kind of a musical, right? It's a stop motion musical. But the movie that came to mind in terms of stop motion for me was Coraline. I don't know if you've seen that one.
Mhm.
I
That's a
love
That's
Coraline.
a very, very good stop motion movie. I really love that one. And I would argue that's miles better than Nightmare Before Christmas.
They're also many, many years apart though. So they've improved on it. So without something like the Nightmare Before Christmas or the holiday movies that we had before, we wouldn't have Coraline. So I still appreciate stuff like that because I love the Nightmare Before Christmas. I grew up on that as a kid. That was one of my favorite things. So now that I watch it as an adult, I'm like, oh man, this is a little bit goofy, but I still love it and I don't care. But yeah, no, I mean, if you compare the two, Coraline is absolutely like 1,000 times better, and I love that one too. It's so good. But yeah, and then
Go ahead.
Oh no, I was just gonna say that's actually really weird that somebody asked that question because I've been seeing that so much on Twitter. I put up I was kind of making fun of the Acolyte, that scene where the villain shows up in the end. I'm not going to call him a Sith because everybody's up in arms about it.
Yes.
Good Lord. So this, Sith adjacent person like floats in, and I'm sorry, that looked very goofy to me. It really did. And people were like, it's because you don't get it. That was like a horror movie reference. And I was like, well, I'm sorry, but that looked really weird. So somebody was comparing it in the replies, and somebody said, this was like 1,000 times better than Maul's entrance in the prequels. And I was like, excuse me?
What?
So somebody in the replies actually had that same comment that someone sent in. They were like, no, I think what's getting you guys is the nostalgia of the Phantom Menace and seeing Maul for the first time. And I was like, dude, have you even freaking seen that movie? I'm like, I'm sorry, but this guy floating in from a tree doesn't compare to those doors opening and then Maul's there with his hood and he takes it off. And then he lights his lightsaber, not just one blade, but two. I'm like, really? You're telling us that the nostalgia's getting us on that one? No, like I'm like, no. I'm like, no, if somebody has a cool entrance, I'll be the first one to admit it. But comparing this little crappy thing in the Acolyte to Darth Maul? And then sorry, that's not nostalgia.
Okay,
that's actually much better done by people who actually care about what they're putting out. The people working on the Acolyte don't give a crap.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
No.
Well, because okay, if we're talking about nostalgia, so I saw the Phantom Menace in theaters. When I saw that scene of Darth Maul when the doors open, that was such a badass scene. As a kid, is like, oh my god, there he is, Darth Maul, and he looks so cool. It revealed of who he was, and yes, like the lightsabers, like double wield one. I was like, that is super cool. I'm not going to be intimidated by a guy who just floated down from a tree.
No, and then the other, it was ridiculous. And then they were trying to justify it that like, oh, Dooku did it in the Clone Wars and Darth Vader's done it. And I'm like, yes, but that's been in like animation, and it's usually with Darth Vader. He does it in video games. I'm like, I don't think we've actually had anyone in live action do that. And that's probably why, because it looks very silly. It just doesn't look intimidating or scary. So like, I actually did laugh out loud. I'm not even joking. I saw that and I was like, what is that? Like, what's happening? Like, that's the villain? Like, really? I don't know. So yeah, that's really weird that somebody sent that in and it matched perfectly with the discussion going on in the replies. I was like, no, sometimes it's not actually nostalgia. Sometimes the thing that you're comparing it with is just miles much better than the thing you're trying to justify. Like, I don't think so.
And remember, somebody greenlit this. Somebody at Disney greenlit this.
Yeah, freaking Dave Filoni.
Yes, you did say that, Lily, that it was Dave Filoni, and you're like, what the heck?
Yeah, well, I don't know if you guys saw it, that one of the writers was actually answering questions about the show that fans had. Since this last episode, opened up a big old can of worms, and somebody asked, like, to what degree is Dave Filoni involved in this project, or some question to that effect. And then she actually answered and she said, well, he's not really involved, like at the writing level and all this and that, but he is the one that initially approves everything at the end. And guess what? She deleted that tweet. Because everyone is
there you
blaming Dave
Weird.
Filoni about it. Yeah, because now
Weird.
everyone's like, oh, so he is aware, and he was very aware that it was going to break lore with Master Chiari Mundi, and he didn't care. He signed off on it.
I wonder why.
See, the thing is, if you're talking about an entrance, okay, let's if you want to bring it, like, I guess, more closer to current day Star Wars that's like done within the past 10 years. This new quote unquote Sith is like an inch taller than OSHA.
Yes.
So,
Oh my
first of
gosh.
all, that's not this thing is tiny, so it's not threatening at all. Like, it would have been cooler if it was like I know they're gonna try to copy it, but like, do you remember when Vader showed up in Rogue One at the end? All you saw was the lightsaber.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Like,
Oh my god.
Even something
Yeah.
like that, like, all you see is a silhouette from the lightsaber and the blasters, right? And you're like,
Mhm.
okay, that has a really, really good opening because we didn't know that Vader was going to be in this movie. That's awesome. There's a very good intro for the character that we already love. And this character, if you're trying to sell it, I don't know, OSHA is probably like 5'4", and this it's like this new Sith is like 5'5" or something like that. Not threatening at all. It's like, at least put him on like stilts or something to make him taller. But yeah, it's not threatening and
Oh my gosh.
not scary.
Thank you for actually pointing that out, because I think a lot of people missed that. When I first saw it the first time, I was like, okay. And then I went to watch it again and I was like, wait a second, there's something really weird here. Why is the villain like literally an inch taller than her? That's with a helmet. So that helmet's gotta have a little bit more room in there. They're probably her height or smaller. So that's weird. But yeah, I don't know. Everybody was going crazy about that stuff. And I don't know how you can justify something like this when you have so much better stuff in Star Wars that you can be defending. I just, like I said it before, and I don't care who I offend, but people who are defending the Acolyte and are actually fans of it, you guys are like the lowest tier of Star Wars fans. I'm sorry. I don't know how you can justify.
To quote a certain actor, Star Wars fan in my mind.
Yeah.
Yeah, for real.
Yes. And like, honestly, I'm not one of the types to be like an elitist and be like, no, you have to like a certain type of stuff to be considered a fan. No, like what you like. It's just that I'm going to make fun of you for liking this because it's bad.
Yep.
I'm finding a tweet because there's something like I wanted to bring to light. I was like, it's bad when someone who's not in the sphere of nerdom is talking about it. I'm trying to find it, guys. I'm sorry.
Is it Matt Walsh?
No, screw Matt Walsh.
Oh.
I don't want to hear his trash take.
Matt Walsh should probably be like, no, guys, this is demonic. And
you know what the most soul-crushing thing was that I ever saw Matt Walsh do is play Mario Kart 64 with Ben Shapiro. That was the most soul-crushing thing I ever watched on YouTube.
How did that even go? I can't even imagine either of them playing video games.
Tim Pool convinced them to do it. That's all you need to know.
Okay,
oh
Tim
Lord.
Pool said it. But look, here I found it. If Barstool Sports is actually tweeting it that Disney
I saw that.
is saying that it's a bad show, Disney messed up. It's Barstool Sports that doesn't even cover media. Like at least like they cover sports media, but not entertainment media.
Yeah. Well, it's not even just them. There's a lot of YouTubers who actually don't cover a lot of this kind of stuff. And they're covering it right now and being honest about it. Like who, what is his name? I just saw Jeremy's video on it last night. Oh my gosh. I'm running a blank on the YouTuber that it is. But the other one that's covering it, I think, was
Star Wars Theory? Was it Star Wars Theory?
No, Star Wars series. Like we need to do wellness checks on Star Wars Theory.
Yeah.
Dying every episode.
It was Moist Critical.
Yes, him. There you go. Yeah, he's talking about it, and he was actually being very fair because I saw his reviews on episodes 1, 2, and even 3. He was like, okay, you guys are like being over dramatic. You guys are saying that this is like the worst Star Wars ever, and I don't think so. It's still the Book of Boba Fett. But this last review that he did, he was like, oh, Okay, I get it. Like, yeah, this is terrible. Like, I can't excuse breaking the lore that bad with Kiadi Mundi and all of the other details. He's like, people want to see a Wookiee fight. You guys didn't give us that. Like, where's the $180 million? Like, where are they going towards? So he's just like ripped it to shreds this time. And I'm like, really? These are the people that aren't really invested in this kind of stuff. And they're telling you that it's terrible. It's not just coming from a diehard Star Wars fan that's going to say they love everything. Like,
See, if
come on.
normies pick up on it, then you know you effed up. Like seriously.
Yeah.
Because that's what the normies are doing. Like, oh, it's a show, Disney. We like Disney. We'll watch it. It's like, and they watch it. Like, this is actual trash. You wasted my time with this.
No, but then like that's what I'm saying. Like they're like the lowest tier, lowest IQ because somebody put up a tweet that was like, "Oh my gosh, you guys! Like this is like the best episode ever." And then someone underneath asked them a question. They were like, "So what do you think about them?" What do you think about them adding Kiadi Mundi when he wasn't even supposed to be there? And then she replied and went, ha ha ha, well, he's in the credits, so that means that he is in there. Like, really? Oh my God.
I'm not that.
I saw it and I was like, oh my gosh. I'm like, these are the fans that Disney Star Wars wants.
That answer just
Like,
made me
don't question, just consume. Like, yeah, I saw that and I was like, dude, just because someone's in the freaking credits, that means that they belong there. Oh my god.
I mean, you know me, Lily. You know everyone here who watches the show. I'm not the greatest knowledgeable person in Star Wars, but I at least am not that dense.
Well, at least you question the stuff you watch. That's the main difference.
Yes.
That's I saw that and I was like, oh, okay, that's enough internet for me today.
Yep.
Yes. But speaking of enough internet for the day, well, looks like we are coming to the end of our show, and I want to thank everyone who has been hanging out here in the chat. We went a little over on our stream, but it's been nothing but good chats, good hangs, good conversations with Phil. I really enjoyed it, Phil. Like, I hope you can come back to the show and hang out with us when we have, a lot of our panelists on here, so we can just, talk and pick your brain. Because I really did enjoy talking to you. You brought a lot of good insight and a lot of good information that I, could be helpful for me being a new weeb, I guess.
Yeah. Thank you for inviting me on. Yeah, it's definitely super fun to talk about like anime and like video games. I know that we talked a lot about Marvel, since Marvel is when's Marvel, so we talked about that, but yeah, I would love to be invited back, definitely.
Yes, please come back.
Yeah, and tell us a little bit more about Project Eggroll before we head out.
All right, so me and Gray do this thing called Project Eggroll. Every Saturday we talk about pop culture stuff and video games. Gray loves JRPGs, so we talk a lot about anime and JRPGs. And we go live every Saturday at 7 Pacific. And if you guys want to follow my own personal channel, it's at Mr. Phillip Chan 2. Smu, thank you so much for posting that up. And you guys, I just recently passed 600 subscribers.
I saw that.
And the thing is, like, thank you. I wanted to do this thing called I wanted to do like a degenerate stream. As I want to push the boundaries as much as possible on YouTube without getting banned. So I have this thing called every Wednesday I have a show. I started yesterday. It's called Coomcast, and it's basically me reacting and talking about girls and like how big is too big, and objectifying women and stuff like that, and also not sounding gay when I objectify men. And it's good times. And
oh my gosh,
I had a poll yesterday. It was like perfect cup size for women, and then like everyone chose triple D. I'm like,
oh my god,
I was like, that's huge.
Why am I not even surprised?
Yeah,
those are huge. Man, that poor
surprised.
girl's back. Jeez.
Yeah, and we talked about like women's how girls they get Botox when they're like 23 years old, and I'm like, why would you get Botox at that young of an age? So but yeah, if you guys want to follow me there, I go live Monday, Wednesday, Friday, but Coomcast happens every Wednesday. And I believe if you want to follow Project Igor on Twix, and you want to follow myself at Mr. Philip Chan, you guys can go ahead and do so. But yeah, thank you so much for having me.
No, of course. We want to. Yeah, well, we would definitely want you to come back again. Before we head out, Smu the DJ, do you have anything coming up on your end?
Sunday I'll be back playing Final Fantasy 14 with Tombi and Mirden. As always, we're going to push towards the end of Endwalkers, who will be ready for Dawn Trail, because that's going to be very soon. I can't freaking wait. It's going to be good. But yeah, other than that, I'm going to be on Dreaming Tabitha's art stream tomorrow as well, with Dr. Rachel and a few others. So I'm looking forward to that. It's going to be like very late in the morning for me, but that's okay. But other than that, yeah, just check out my main channel. Name is down here. Just click there and just see what I'm up to. Sometimes I post a random time-lapse drawing. Sometimes I just post a random song extension of a game that I like, or just do gaming or drawing stream. That's pretty much all I do. But yeah,
good stuff.
And Thursdays, you always find me here.
Yes. We love having you here, Smu. Lily, what do you have going on?
So basically just follow me on Twix at 300 Mares, and I'll be posting like whatever I'm doing. And lately, I don't know, everything's a mess. I'm starting fires all over the place with the Acolyte. And I am not apologetic about it either. But of course, you can catch me here with the girls every Thursday, and then gonna be on a stream on Midnights at Espanol on Wednesdays, whenever I can over there. And what else? There was also another stream that I retweeted today, so definitely go check that one out. That was on a stream called Dad's Turn to Talk, and it was with a bunch of really awesome Star Wars, House of the Dragon, Game of Thrones fans, and we just kind of nerded out the whole time about it. So definitely check it out. It's really cool. And yeah, that's pretty much it.
Okay, cool. And as far as me, you can always catch me on Twix at Nomiwithoutyou, my YouTube channel here at Nomiwithoutyou, some shorts on Midnight's Edge Espanol, but you can always catch me here. Oh, I forgot. Mondays on Moon School, I'm playing Call of Cthulhu with Sevvy and Neruda and a good other amount of friends that we are playing with. But you can always catch me here Thursdays at 6 p.m. Mountain Standard Time for Dames and Dorks, and we just like to hang out and talk to people with, you know, cool people like Phil, who likes anime boobs and other little bits and pieces in between about culture. But thanks so much, everyone. Thanks for hanging out to the chat. Thank you for being here, and I hope you all have a good weekend. Bye. Take care.
Bye.
Bye.